This podcast is part of the Everyday Heroes Podcast Network, the network for first responders and those who support them.
Disclaimer. All views expressed on What Makes Us Fire are solely those of the person or persons giving them. What Makes Us Fire does not represent or claim to represent any particular city or fire department, and therefore make the claim that all views and standpoints are affiliated with What Makes Us Fire and with What Makes Us Fire only. Any mention of certain fire departments or cities within the interviews are solely for informational and opinion-based dialogue. In short, if you have a problem with what's published, just say something about it and don't be a Richard.
What is up, What Makes Us Fire family? This is Josh, your host of the What Makes Us Fire podcast, founder of the What Makes Us Fire nonprofit foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to helping our civil service members, be it military or first responder, active, retired veteran, and our volunteers get and receive inpatient mental health treatment. We do that by bridging the gap that is the financial association with getting that treatment. So not only do we pay for that inpatient mental health treatment, we also supplement that individual's income. You know, it's too often that a civil service member has to make a very hard choice. Go and receive the mental health help that we are looking for and lose out on our finances, or continue our finances and lose out on our mental health help. What Makes Us Fire wants to put a stop to that. I want to thank the Spagnoletti Law Firm for being a sponsor of the What Makes Us Fire podcast and the legal counsel for the What Makes Us Fire nonprofit foundation. Spagnoletti Law Firm is located here in the Houston, Texas area. If you need any help with your legal woes, please reach out to the Spagnoletti Law Firm here in Houston, Texas. I also want to give a huge shout out to the Everyday Heroes Podcast Network, a podcast network dedicated to showcasting and producing podcasts that are made by civil service members like myself. That is the Everyday Hero Podcast Network. Okay, now that I am done with all that, my guest today, Mr. Dylan Gray. If you're not familiar with who he is a country music musician, up and coming, and a young man. At least compared to me, a young man. A young man that is probably had a little bit more life experience than most of us had at the age of 24. He's been through a lot. He is a veteran. And I'm going to let him explain what that means to you, because some of you out there, I have a feeling, are going to have an issue with him calling himself a veteran. But he's a veteran. He's a veteran through and through. But more than that, he's an inspiration for changing oneself for the better. He's used his struggles in his past and the struggles that he deals with now to hopefully change a million lives. But like he says in this podcast, if not a million, at least one. And that's enough. I'm going to let him explain a hell of a lot more. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Mr. Dylan Gray, a friend that I just met. Don't worry, that was me. Yeah,
Okay.
especially, being a country singer, you got to dig deep and start sharing some stories that, put them to a rhythm and rhyme.
Sometimes you just don't want to share with everybody, but at the same time, when it comes to rap songs and singing, especially being a songwriter, you've got to be able to let all that stuff out. And I say, and one thing that I know for sure, like especially since I started writing my book, I write a daily affirmations book. So it's man, ever since I started writing that, it's been a whole lot easier opening up with everyone, about past experiences and stuff like that. Just kind of getting into the things that really, it breaks your heart to talk about, but at the same time, it's one of those things where it's the reason why I'm at where I'm at. So
It's a release.
exactly.
It's a release. It's a lot. I think music is very attuned to social media creators that are putting stuff out there. For them, it's a form of art that releases what's on the inside and able to put it on the outside without having to be the only person dealing with it. Now it's out and other people can relate or not relate, hate it, like it, love it, doesn't matter, because you do it for yourself, and then in hopes that it helps somebody else or somebody else enjoys it. But in the long and short of it, you did it for yourself.
Exactly.
Okay, so do you go by Dylan Gray or just Dylan or Mr. Gray? You know what? I'm not going to call you Mr. Gray because there's too many 50 Shades of Grey jokes that could be made through all that.
I say I'm not 50 Shades. I'm only about 37 of them. So
only 37. You know, for some women that might still be enough.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it is. I'm sure.
Also, man, don't worry about language. Be yourself. Like I told Kat that, you know, think Joe Rogan, man. Think Joe Rogan. Right. Talk how you want. I don't know if you've ever listened to Joe Rogan before.
I've listened to a little bit of it. I know it gets a little rowdy in there, so I'm not too fucked up about it.
Good deal. If you want to drink, you need to take a piss, just let me know. Again, I can just edit that part out. But Dylan, brother, thank you for jumping on the What Makes Us Fire podcast, man. I really do appreciate you being here.
All right, no, I appreciate you letting me be in here. But I say, especially, you know, right now it's a big time for me. But I say, hell, I'm starting, you know, my brand new book. I just released my first album, my first music video, fixing to go on my first tour. So it's a big deal getting to come in and get to talk a little bit with whoever I can, just to tell my story a little bit. So
yeah, well, let's see. So I usually have a little bit of a format when I have my guests on. I like to introduce them, say thank you for coming on the show. You know, all the bullshit, to get the formalities out of the way. But I like to let the audience know how we met, and this is the first time we've met.
This is the first time we've met.
First time we've talked. First time we've interacted. We haven't texted each other. Haven't called each other. It's the first time I'm seeing your face. First time you're seeing my face.
Yep.
Other than I did a little bit of research and listened to your song on YouTube, Soldier. Okay. And then went and checked out your TikTok stuff because of you know, the manager you have. And I was like, all right, yeah, okay, this guy seems pretty cool. Why is he agreeing to be on my podcast? Does he know what the hell he's about to get into?
Hey, I got a feeling we're gonna have a lot of heart to heart, but we're also gonna have a lot of shit talk. So
well, absolutely.
I say, she was saying, I must say, I know you're a firefighter, so I say I help out with the volunteer fire department around here. But I say Rock Point Fire Department, man, it's I've lived out here and helped my grandpa since I was probably, you know, 10 years old, flagging traffic, you know, and even when on fire calls that, you know, we probably shouldn't have been on, but I say, by God, I win. I was there. I was helping flag traffic. I was doing whatever I could to help out. You know, nowadays, now I cause more fires than I put out. But, you know, hey, it happens.
Well, yeah, but those are metaphorical fires, and they probably have to deal with women. And we all know those type of fires, you're going to lose. So, so Kat reached out to you. You're actually getting ready to go on tour with Bryce, Anthem Unsung, and Queen Des. And, you know, she's become your manager and everything, but Bryce was actually supposed to be here in this time slot. Something came up, which is fine. I was going to ask you to be on the podcast anyway. You were available. Here you are. But what I'm really interested in is when Kat told you kind of what this was and what it was about, what drew you to say yes? Because, you know, some people, they're not so keen on wanting to just start talking about mental health stuff and their past and what they went through and how they've gotten through it. It's not always a story that some like to tell. Not right or wrong. It's just some like to keep it to themselves. Others will share the hell out of it.
Right. And no, like I said, I completely understand. But I said there's a lot of people that don't like to share that stuff. Me, like I said, I'm writing my book right now, and I'm all about being transparent, man. You know, my book I wrote, it's a daily affirmations book. I write a page a day. I'm doing it every day for the next probably, it's for 366 days. I'm on day 73 today. And, I'll say it's been a life changer for me. I'll say opening up, talking about this stuff, you know, it not only does it help me, but at the same time, you know, there's somebody out there who can relate. There's somebody out there who I know my story, you know, they'll be like, hey, I've gone through a similar situation, and just them knowing that they're not alone in that situation will help them. So that's it. I'm all for it.
Yeah. And you're a veteran, correct?
I am.
Right. What branch?
Well, okay. Well, I'm gonna kind of go into that just a little bit. So I went in when I signed my paper. I signed my contract. I was super excited. I was the 12th November. So I was super excited to go in. I went to my basic training, and I got 8 weeks out of my 9 weeks of training, and I broke both legs. Yeah.
What branch was this?
This Army.
Army. So
Sure.
8 weeks into the 9 weeks training of basic,
Yep.
you break both your legs.
I break both my legs, both knees, both ankles, and my right foot.
How? Okay. So in the fire department, that kind of breaks when you break both legs and your ankles and all that other stuff. We call that the husband's home break, because it's you jumping out of a window because the husband ends up showing up at the house, and so you have to jump out the window.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that. I say the drill sergeant said, "Get down there at this time," and I jumped. I was jumping stairs, so it was, yeah. You get out of those barracks as fast as you can when it's you're in the phases of basic training. You're just getting as fast as you can. So
You tripped?
No, I definitely jumped.
Oh.
I just landed wrong.
Damn. Ouch. 8 weeks in.
But I did find out, that I can run a 13:52 2-mile on 2 broke legs.
So, oh man, ouch. So one of the biggest things, like me, I can look at broken bones, I can look at torn flesh, I can look at all that other stuff, but watching it happen, or like thinking how it happened, it like, ugh.
Yeah.
I can see the aftermath. The aftermath doesn't bother me at all. It's just thinking about how it happened, especially like the ankles and legs part, like you land and then just like watching that shit happen on ESPN and all that other stuff with the football players and that stuff turns my stomach. Now, treat it, look at it, touch it, fix it, I'm all good with. Don't show me how it happened. Don't. No way. I'm not good with that. All right. So, well, did you ever go back and finish, or did they have to medically?
They sent me home for a month to recover, and me being me, they sent me home during deer season, and
So you went up in a tree.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, you went up in a tree. If you're anything like me when it comes to deer hunting, you went into a tree.
Well, actually, I didn't even go into a tree. I'm more of a stalker hunter. So it was like I was definitely walking around the mountain. We own about 250 acres up in the mountains over here in Arkansas, and I'm a big hiker when it comes to hunting. I'll walk until I run up on a deer, and then I'll shoot it.
Oh, nice. Do you use bow at all? Do you bow hunt at all?
I do bow hunt. I'm not good at it, but I do bow hunt.
Okay. Yeah, I bow hunt more than I rifle. This past year, I got a nice small 12-point, but East Texas deer they're not big. But got a nice little 12-point.
But still a nice buck.
Yeah, 12-point is still nice, but especially for East Texas, it was not bad. And then of course I got a spike, but I don't really hunt for trophy. I hunt for meat, man.
I about to say I'm a meat hunter, so I can kill as many does as I can, and then I'll go for my bucks.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm a big meat hunt. I hunt for meat. Even hog. I'll still take hog and make some damn good, roast with that stuff, man.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Steve Rhinella. You know Steve Rhinella. I want to get him on the show so bad.
I can understand that. I would love that. Yeah. I would watch it. I would watch it.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Just talking to him, and I think tying what he does into his mental health and how he does that with his guests and everybody else. Because I've seen guests that were military veterans and everything just thank him for taking them out. They don't even get anything. They just go out. They spend the whole 14-day hunting trip glassing the side of a mountain. They're like, I had the time of my life.
Yep.
So it's like, I can't wait to do it again. You're like, you didn't even see anything. It doesn't matter.
Hey, a bad day is better than a good day at work. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I really do believe that. So you didn't finish. You went hunting during the hunting season, and
I came back. I just lost my motivation, man. I lost my motivation, and my mindset wasn't right. And so I had my 1 month con leave, and then they sent me, like, they said, right, I had a week until, holiday block leave. And, so I came back in, and then all of a sudden, like, for some odd reason, like I got in trouble for something that I didn't do, but, you know, they were trying to say that I brought cigarettes back, after I came in, because somebody had smuggled in some, contraband, cigarettes, and, so I got blamed for it because I was one of the only people that came back in from home. So I took a hard hit, and they were trying to say that I couldn't go home for my holiday block leave, and I was like, I'm not having that. It messed with my head a little bit, you know, like thinking that, you know, someone could keep me from going home for, you know, the holiday to see my family or something like that, you know, which, of course, it would be one thing, you know, if they were shipping me out to war, but, you know, they were just trying to hold me there to punish me, and I'm like, especially for something that they don't know I did, you know, I was like, nah, that's not gonna fly with me, guys.
And so you ended up just, how does that work? I'm ignorant to the fact on how that works. So how does that work? Do you just put in resignation?
No.
Fail out?
No. I was just, my motivation was messed up, and it messed with my head a little bit mentally. And, you know, I told him, I was like, this sergeant, you know, for one, y'all don't know it was me. Two, it wasn't me. So, I mean, there's no reason for me. Like, I don't feel like I should be getting punished for this. They ended up, you know, like, after quite a few stern talking to, and, you know, since I just got off on leave, I was trying to, you know, I was coming back in telling them I was ready to go, you know, that meant I could get fucked up. That meant that I could do the exercises that, you know, they wanted me to do. So they put me back to work. They worked my ass, and then that was my punishment. They just fucked me up.
Right.
Let's say, and so, but then I still had PT and stuff like that, and they went and looked at my bones again. They were like, "No, you're still fucked up. Your legs are still fucked. You're still fractured. You're still broken. You can't go back to working out. You can't go back to PT, anything like that yet. So just you know, bye." They were.
So you got medically discharged before
Yes.
you could even finish basic.
Exactly. But I say the only thing that I didn't get to do was throw a grenade.
Oh, okay.
Training. So
I'm gonna ask you something, and we're going off subject. I go down rabbit trails, especially when I'm ignorant to the fact. And you know, I was never enlisted in any of the services. I've been civil service the whole time. I've been first responder my entire career, but I have heard stories of people that, you know, either didn't finish boot camp or had to medically retire because of boot camp. And it's a bit of a hard question, and it's a mindset. There's some out there that wouldn't even consider you a veteran since you didn't make it through boot camp. What would you say to that?
Honestly, I would almost, I'm kind of on a split decision with it. You know, I signed that paper. I went in, I wore the uniform, I had that flag, you know, I signed my life away. Like I was ready to go. I spent 6 months on base, you know, even though it wasn't, you know, I didn't go overseas. I didn't do this. I didn't fight a war. You know, I fought a mental battle for 6 months with those guys, you know, like with drill sergeants up my ass, you know, preparing me for war.
Right.
You know, I was everything prepared, ready to go for it. So, you know, if I feel like if I'm willing to sign that sheet of paper, I feel like, you know, and you go through, especially damn near the whole training, I feel like, you know, you've done your part. You wore the uniform.
You had the mission to go through everything. It wasn't like
Exactly.
you were trying to pull out. You didn't quit.
Yeah,
I didn't. Yeah, you were medically discharged, and there's nothing you can really do about that. unless later on down the road, once you're completely healed up, re-enlist. But
Yeah.
I mean, after that, yeah, you give 6 months, doesn't necessarily, just because you don't re-enlist doesn't necessarily mean that you weren't a veteran of the of our armed forces, because you signed that. I get what you're saying. Like, you signed that dotted line. You were ready to fight for the country. You were ready to do everything that needed to be done for the United States Army. And it just so happened you had to get medically discharged. I agree with that sentiment. Now, like I said, there are some that have this, well, you didn't even make it past basic. How can you call yourself a veteran? Well, you can call himself a veteran. You call yourself a veteran because you were willing to do what needed to be done to be a U.S. Armyman. So, yeah, absolutely. I get that. I get that point of view.
That's just how I feel about it. And I agree with you. I say there are a lot I agree with. I even halfway agree with them. Like, I didn't go to war. I didn't go and fight. I say when people ask for veterans to stand up, yes, I do stand up. I stand up. But when people say thank you for your service, you want to know why I say? I say most of the time I say I didn't do much, or I say thank you for making it worth it. That's my. I say that most of the time. Thank you for making it worth it. Because,
I mean, training in itself is a service.
Yes,
you're training to do something for our country. That's a service. That's something that you're choosing to do for other people that you didn't have to choose to do.
Exactly. And hell, one thing I will tell you about basic training, there's a lot of stuff that we did in there, like not that wasn't just training. We went out and we served, like we had we did pretty much community service. We went out and we helped, when we could, doing this and that, kind of like, how the National Guard goes out and they help when there's tornadoes and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
And basic training, I say, if there's something that happens on base, most of us, we're the guys that handle that shit. So
right.
We're out there, we're taking care of the base, we're out there taking care of people that live on base, So I feel like, one way or another, we were there to protect, our base. Because if some shit was to come up, they're going to be like, hey, motherfuckers, get out there.
Right.
They're not going to say, all right, you guys, y'all are just, y'all are in training, hide.
Yeah, no, they're not going to do that. They're going to put a gun in your hands and say, go take care of business. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that was just a question that I had, and what your thoughts on it were. I'm of your mindset. As long as you don't quit, I can consider you a veteran, because you did everything you could to complete it. And
right.
If you get medically discharged, that's something that's out of your hands, or if something happened that's out of your hands that doesn't allow you to finish, you're still considered a veteran in my eyes, because you were still trying to finish. You're still trying to get through it all. And so thank you. I'll say thank you for your service, because I know what it's like to have to do something that you're choosing to do for other people. Mm-hmm. And not being able to finish it almost feels more like a punishment at times.
Yep.
And you feel like a failure at times, because it's something that you were really wanting to complete.
Right. And I really did. But I will say this, one thing that still gets me, and I will say this outright. I could have stayed and done PT for another 6 months. I and probably would have gotten better and would have been able to go and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
But that was, like I said, my motivation was gone at that point. Like, I wanted to come back, but I wanted to go home and heal. I didn't want to have to sit in a basic training facility as a holdover, going through, red phase after red phase after red phase. I don't know if you know what the red phase, white phase, blue phase is, but
not familiar with those terms at all.
So red phase is pretty much, if you've ever heard the term Hell Week,
mm-hmm.
It's not just Hell Week, it's Hell 3 weeks. And if they decide that that y'all aren't ready to go to the next phase, they keep that red phase going. So that means that they're coming in, they're fucking getting in your face, left and right during the mornings, white face, they give you a little bit of respect. They're like, hey, it's time to get up, you guys, let's go. They give you motivation, but they're not just there to scare you. They're not trying to break you at that point. You're already kind of in the middle of being broken.
Right. Now, that's another question that we're going to get into, and I'm going to remember that because when we get into a little bit of all that kind of stuff and the mental health portion of that, of in the service, I want to get back to that. But before we do, I want to take it back a little bit, and I want you to kind of explain where you came from. Now, I don't mean like, don't take me from like, early adulthood. I want to know like, what was your childhood like? And the reason why I like asking these kind of questions is, what was your childhood like? What was your family life like growing up? Is a lot of people will watch our content on social media. They'll realize we are a civil service member, be it military or first responder, and they forget sometimes that we came from normal backgrounds, just like everybody else. We're normal human beings, just like everybody else. And so I like to have the stories from my guests of their backgrounds, because it's not all the time that our mental health issues start from the service. Yeah, sometimes our mental health issues start way prior to getting to the service, and then some things kind of compound from that point on.
Yep, and I will definitely have to say that was definitely my story. If I say me personally, so where I come from.
Let's start off from where you were born and then kind of go from there.
Okay, so I was born in Searcy, Arkansas. I grew up 2 houses down from where I'm at right now. Let's say that was the first house that I lived in with my mom and dad. And, I grew up on a farm. But my parents, they got divorced when I was 3. They split, and I was a little bit back and forth. I spent weekends with my dad, well, every other weekend with my dad, and half the time it was with my grandma instead, because my dad he had to work. He was working his ass off, so he couldn't take care of me while he was trying to pay the bills and pay child support and do all that. But it's one of those things where you're pushing hard to feed your family. So I completely understood that. Of course, when you're a little kid. Hold on. Be quiet. I don't know who's trying to call me, but I don't know what just happened. Okay, there we go.
You're good.
Sorry. That's why I don't like these phones.
Do you know how to put it on Do Not Disturb?
Dude. I apologize.
You're good.
Get this. If I can get it to go right. I think it's I keep pressing the wrong. There we go. Sorry.
There you are. I hear you. I just don't see you.
Okay. You should be able to see me in 3, 2, 1 now.
There we go. All right. So
sorry, I only hit airplane mode instead.
You're good.
That's the awesome part about it being recorded, I guess.
Yeah. No, I'll be able to edit all that part out, or I'll just leave it in, because guess what? That's life, and life fucking happens.
Shit happens.
Yeah, shit happens. So you understand why your dad's working so hard?
Yeah, I understand why Dad's working so hard. I was proud knowing that he was doing that. Let's say, but as a kid, you don't know that. So you see that your dad's not there, and it's like, fuck. But my stepdad came into the picture, and then my stepmom came into the picture, and as a kid, new people, especially new adults, you're testing them, they're testing you. It's a whole thing. At first, I was not a fan of step parents, but I grew to where I definitely appreciate my stepfather so much now, because I know how hard he fucking worked, to be a dad that he didn't have to be, So that I appreciate that so damn much.
Absolutely.
But he was definitely a tough guy. He was tough. He was raised tough. He got his ass whooped like most of us probably need to be. Half the time.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
and I can tell you, I got my ass beat. Definitely not as bad as he did, but we had the board of education in our house, and we had a paddle with a hole drilled in it. That way it caught that air. It's aerodynamic on that
Oh
ass.
yeah, you got to create more velocity, and you do that
Yeah.
by taking out more
I say,
wind resistance.
especially with a growing boy that's like, you're not my dad. Shit. Am I paying the bills in the house? Yup.
Oh no, Troy, I can relate to that story. I can relate to that story because as soon as it comes out of your mouth, you're like, oh, I fucked up. You know that those. This is the moment when he realized he fucked up. Yeah, that
Yep.
as soon as the words leave our mouths, we were like, oh, yep.
Been there, done that multiple times.
Yeah. So you're growing up in the split home, right? And
Yep.
what was that like for you as a kid? Now, it sounds like you had a pretty good relationship with both your parents, even though they were divorced. I mean, you got along with both your parents. The step parents come in, takes you a little bit, but you guys are getting along. Did you have any siblings through all this?
I'm an only child, but so my dad, he when he married his first, or not his first wife, because that's my mom, but his second wife, my first stepmother, she had 3 kids at that time: Rachel, Misty, and Nathan. And my dad, he's a lot like me. He was, if he could help somebody, he was going to help. And Nathan, he wasn't dad's, but my dad put his name on the birth certificate and said, "This is my boy," and raised him as he was,
Right.
And so on paper, I have a half brother, and we don't communicate a whole lot. But it was it was definitely something different, going in from being an only child to coming into a home on, even if it was just every other weekend, having this person, these new people. And, but I was, it was definitely I won't call it a traumatic experience with them. That they were great people. Definitely not the greatest parenting skills at first. I remember one day I said I like hot sauce, and I definitely got hot sauce poured down my throat one day by the stepmom.
Oh wow.
Of that situation. That was a very interesting go at it, but I will definitely have to say that I still like hot sauce.
At least you can joke about it now.
Oh yeah, hey, no, I told her then. Even after that, I mean, I swallowed for probably a day after that, but I told her. She goes, "How much you like hot sauce now?" I said, "A lot."
Wow.
And,
so would you say you're kind of defiant a little bit?
I was definitely defiant, especially when it came to being around, the new step siblings. I was definitely a little defiant because I definitely knew who my mama was because I was around her, during the week.
Right.
So, I was around her most of almost 2 weeks, and then I go over there and someone who's, my mom, for 2 days, I'm like, no.
What was, how do you feel that kind of started shaping you? And when did you realize that started shaping you? Sounds like your stepfather, you guys had butted heads, but it turned out into this respect thing. Just hearing your story, man, I have a feeling you still have a little bit of animosity toward your first stepmother. And you said first stepmother, so I'm assuming that relationship didn't work out with your dad and her.
No, that didn't work out. No, I didn't work.
No, that one did not work out.
I think they made it. I don't remember exactly how long they made it. I think they may have made it 5-6 years. in that marriage, but they didn't make it too far. And then Dad, so they split up, and I want to say it was a while before he got married again. But so he moved back in with my grandmother, and so it meant a whole lot more time at Grandma's house, which I was okay with because that's where I spent most of my time during the summers, and that's where I spent most of my time during the extra weekend, that second weekend of every month.
Right.
And so that's where I was most of the time. I was like, all right, this is the place to be. But yeah, I'll definitely have to say that I probably have a little bit of animosity like left in me, but just because the situations that I was put through here and there, honestly, when they were married, I spent most of my time with my grandmother. I didn't spend a whole lot of time with them because I just didn't want to be over there. But we definitely had some crazy days and some crazy nights. Now, one thing I will say that the first time that I ever got left alone at that house with her, I ran away. Let me rephrase that. I ran away.
Quotation marks. Air quotation marks. I ran away.
I ran away. I grabbed my backpack and my little sock monkey that I had at that time. Threw him over my shoulder, and I was gone. I was going to my grandma's house. I knew how to get there. So I took off walking. I got just past the end of the driveway. I remember looking, and I was like, holy shit, this is going to be a long-ass fucking walk. I took off about 5 steps, and you just hear her come out cussing. I'm like, oh shit, this is going to be great. She just had a stern talking to about how that would make my dad feel, and I was like, yeah, well, now I feel like shit.
Right. She used your dad to make you feel guilty. Yeah.
Well, I mean, kind of, but at the same time, it's a lesson, that I definitely needed to learn at that point in time, though. Like, hey, look here, if you got kidnapped, how do you think your dad's gonna feel? He's gonna be big. For one, he's going to be pissed at me. 2, he's going to be pissed at you because, fuck, you're the one who ran away, not me.
Right. What kind of kid were you, like, going through school with all this going on?
Okay, so this is where you're going to get that fun mental health stuff, all that stuff that you like to pry into.
Uh-huh.
So, I was bullied. I was bullied hardcore. I did not fit in any group whatsoever. So I was to myself the whole time. I did not want, I got my ass whooped. Let's just say that I got my ass whooped.
Was this all the way through high school? Was this something that you had to deal with throughout all your school years? This
was all the way until 9th grade when I just finally decided that actually my stepdad told me my stepdad is 5'2".
So I'm gonna
he's a big chunky boy, and he's 5'2". But he always told me, that he was probably one of the toughest kids in school, when he was in, because he was short and he got his ass whooped, or he was fixing to whoop somebody's ass because nobody was gonna fuck with him. He said, I got my ass whooped a lot, but by God, they knew that if they fucked with me, that it was going to be a fight.
Right.
Me, it was the opposite. They knew if they fucked with me, I was going to fucking take it. Until 9th grade, when my stepdad told me, you're 6 foot tall, 230 pounds. Why the fuck aren't you whooping their ass?
Right.
And for some odd reason, it fucking clicked. And it was just like, okay, you're probably right.
So you're going through grade school, and it's not until your first beginning years of high school that you start learning, hey, if I fight back, I can probably stop this from happening. Yep. Why do you think, though, looking back on it, because like when we're going through those situations, we can't cognitively, that's not even a word. We can't be cognizant of what we're dealing with. All we know is what we're dealing with, right? We can't look back on
Right.
it and be like, oh, that's why I meant, or that's what it meant, or this is how I felt about it. At that time, it's just this. But looking back on it, why do you think you were that kind of kid up until ninth grade, of just that kid that took it?
I mean, honestly, it was because of I told you I spent a lot of time with my grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
So my grandpa, he's a very reserved man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was all about helping people out, but he was also all about getting the work done. But the biggest thing that he did was he stayed out of trouble. He stayed away from anything that had risk, which is probably the reason why I am the way I am now, where I risk pretty much everything, because I'm a little bit defiant, and, shit happens. It happens that way. When you're held back a lot, when you're sheltered a little bit, you once you get out of that wing, you're like, okay, it's time to experience some things.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but my grandpa, he's definitely a very reserved man, so he didn't take a lot of risks. He doesn't take a lot of risks. And so me, I didn't want to get in trouble. I was afraid of getting in trouble. I didn't want to take the risk of getting in trouble at school. I didn't really want to take the risk of getting my ass whooped. I didn't want, I wanted, I felt like, maybe if I let these guys, pick on me here, that hell, maybe they'll leave me alone next week, and sometimes that worked, but, it was normally, I just kind of took to myself. It wasn't until, I was 12 years old that I found a really good outlet for that, that hurt and that pain, if I say, because, that shit will definitely affect you. I say I had pretty hard depression at that point in time. I just, like I said, I stuck to myself. My freshman year, that year, my ninth grade year that I was telling you about, hell, I went to 3 different schools. I went from Riverview High School to Bald Knob High School to back to Mayflower, where I moved from with my mom, I say, because I was getting bullied at Mayflower, so they sent me to my grandma's house to go to Riverview, and then bullied there, couldn't make any friends. They sent me to Bald Knob to live with my dad. Lived with Dad for a little while, couldn't make any friends there. Some issues at home, just so they brought me back to my mom's house. Went back to Mayflower School, and so everybody was like, he's fresh meat again.
When you say family issues, what kind of issues were those? Now,
So,
it's interesting to hear your story, man, because your story is different from mine, and so I'm asking questions because I haven't been through that. I haven't been through a similar situation. So, for me, asking these questions is because I'm interested in kind of wanting to know what that lifestyle looked like for somebody else. Because I've had friends, obviously, that had to move homes and everything like that, and jump from grandma's house. I have friends that are similar stories to yours, but they're not your story.
exactly.
So I got the gist of why they were doing it, or why they had to, but I never really understood. I never understood it completely because I wasn't in it.
Right. See, the family issues that were at my house at that point in time with my dad. My dad was a lot like me. Well, let me rephrase that. I'm a lot like my dad, or I was a lot like. I don't know exactly how to explain that. I was a lot more like my dad. Past, I'll say I've worked on myself a lot to not be the same, but my dad had some anger issues, and he definitely didn't take it out the right way, just to put it in lightly. But
I'm not big on the whole light stuff, and I get if you're not comfortable saying it, and if you don't want, would you say it was borderline child abuse?
I I wouldn't call it child abuse. Honestly, like I seen, you know, like I seen my dad, you know, with the woman he was with at that point in time. He ended up marrying later on, because he worked on it himself at that time, and you know, they ended up working things out. But you know, there was times where, you know, the stress and his anger got to him, and he kind of snapped, and he
got physical. He got physical. Okay.
With his woman at the time, but like I said, he made improvements before he died. I say he died back in 2016.
Sorry to hear that.
And it's one of those things. It's hard, but I don't take it as a loss to me. I take it as a gain up there. So
there you go.
It's just one of those ways to look at it. It's all about the mindset on that.
Right. So you're dealing with a father that's having some anger issues, and when he gets upset, he might get a little bit too physical. And you wanted to get out of that situation.
Well, I wanted to kind of be there, to be honest with you, so I could try to calm him down at that point. But you know, my mom seen, you know, what was going on a little bit over there, and she was like, "That's not okay," you know. My dad, he was taking Xanax, if I'm not mistaken, at that point in time, for anti-anxiety and all that sort of shit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he was taking, you know, a few more than he was supposed to, and I think Mom noticed it. I didn't notice it at that time, so you know, when you know people started saying that, you know, your dad's probably on drugs, I'm like, no, I was there, you know. But of course, you know, and I know that, you know, shit can happen around kids that kids just don't fucking notice.
Right. Absolutely.
And
I'm hearing your story, man. And I'm sorry to keep interrupting you, but I'm hearing your story. I'm hearing your story, and the bullying is starting to make a little bit more sense now.
Yeah.
Why you kind of just let it happen. And it sounds like it had to deal with your relationship with your father. You know, when somebody got angry with you or started, you know, yelling at you or whatever, and your dad do that, you don't yell back at your dad. You just be quiet and take it.
Me, to be honest with you, I say most of the time, I never really got fucked with. You know, I never really got fucked with. You know, like I got yelled at here and there, but you know, like I said, it was mainly with the woman he was with. You know, like I was there all the time. You know, like until I moved in.
Right.
You know, so I didn't really get to see a whole bunch of that. You know, with me, it was more, he would get mad and he would just give a stern, like a kind of look, you know, look kind of like a rock, you know, just give that.
Right.
Mean
stink eye.
Yeah. Well, the smolder look is what they called it on Jumanji. So
the smolder.
The smolder.
The people's the people's eyebrow.
Yeah. But yeah. So I get that look, and so you know, me and my dad, you know, we got into it about 2 years before he was killed, because I seen it happen, you know, and I flipped my fucking top. I got in his face. Me and him got in a shoving match. Me and him were, of course, I'm the same size as him at this point, you know, like probably I may even be taller than him at this point, but I'm 235 pounds, 6 foot tall. You know, me and him get into it. It's not, you know, too big of a challenge for either one of us. We're about equally matched. And he pushed me up against the wall by my throat. I grabbed him right by his, and I was like, I can do that too, bitch. You know, but and then we were in the floor just fighting away. But, you know, of course, after that a little bit, that caused some trauma there for a while, because I didn't talk to my dad for a year, you know, after that. And that hurt. But I will definitely say that, you know, when me and him reconnected, you know, we came back stronger. You know, he had changed a fuck ton. Him and the woman that he was with at that time, they had finally gotten married. They fixed all that they were dealing with, and Dad had changed himself quite a bit. He'd gone through some steps to to better himself, and they got this house that I'm living in now. And he was rebuilding it, and now I'm doing the same.
What was that like, going through that kind of physical altercation with your father? Because I know, like, I've gone through a physical altercation with my father one time, and
most of us do.
And it was eye-opening, I think, not only for myself, but for my father as well, I think. Now, you'll have to ask him, but I think when you finally realize, holy shit, my spawn can stand up to me now. They're not just this thing that is relying on me. Now they're this thing that can rely on themselves, have their own opinions. Yep. And it's like they go through this little crap.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he was definitely going crap because he knew he fucked up.
Right.
And of course, me, I was standing up for his woman at the time, so I didn't do anything wrong. Was I getting into business that wasn't particularly mine? Yes, but it was business that needed to be gotten into. It was someone needed defending. I was there. I was gonna help.
Right.
And so I say I'm a huge advocate now on domestic abuse, and I always will be. I was at that time. I feel like even not just showing it on social media, but hell, I was there.
Right.
And but he changed up after that. Like I said, he definitely. I think it finally clicked to him, like, hey, even though I'm going through all of this stress and all this stuff's eating me up, tearing me up, even though I've got this anger inside me, I've got to find a better way. And he definitely did that, and I can definitely say I was proud of him for that.
It's interesting how we can see somebody actually trying to change.
Exactly. Yes.
Right, when they actually put forth the effort. Now, we get a lot of people that say, I'm trying to change, but their habits remain the same. The only way to change is to change your habit, to change your routine, to literally rewire your brain, and to change how you look at things. Mm-hmm. So the only way to really see that is through the action of what they're doing. And the way they talk, and the way they speak, and the way they carry themselves. You can see that change happening. Having them just say I'm changing doesn't necessarily mean they're changing.
Yeah.
But when you can't see somebody change, your respect for them actually grows.
Yes. I say, and it definitely did. I say my respect grew tremendously, and the last year, like I said, that was 2 years. I didn't talk to him for a year, and then so I had that 1 year before he was killed. So it was I got to spend that year, and I will definitely have to say I spent it with him, because I say I definitely when I have bad luck, I have shit luck. I'm talking like, you want to talk about a turd rolling downhill, that was my life at 18. Like, I got robbed on Thanksgiving, and then when I was on my way to find out what they stole, I told them my truck on a deer. And then got down there, they stole my guns. I was pissed. I was fucking livid. But my dad came out there and helped us. Because of course I grabbed the deer and, somewhat got the truck back home in one piece. Well, in pieces, well, a bunch of pieces. And a bunch of pieces. But, it was a 90 model Chevrolet. I mean, it was made of steel, so it's all good.
Right.
But, I threw the deer in the back of the truck, and we got back, and Dad helped me cut it up. I say, but then I needed a job because my truck was totaled. I wasn't able to get to work. He wasn't going to be able to carry me back and forth to my job.
Right.
So I needed a job. I needed a ride. That was my dad. I had, he was my new boss. He was my new ride. He was my dad. So when he was killed, I lost all my shit at that point.
You brought up your father being killed. I want to jump into that because I have a feeling that one's going to be pretty deep. But
Yep.
I want to finish up a little bit of your history. Say you finally stand up in high school. You become somebody now that's no longer being bullied. And you graduate high school at some point, 17, 18 years old. How was high school life, really?
So high school, honestly, I mean, it wasn't really, I won't say that it was much different, after I got my first big fight, when I finally decided to stand up for myself. See, my first fight was in front of the whole fucking school. So they knew, people knew, don't fuck with that guy. But when they knew not to fuck with me, they knew they weren't going to fuck with me. So like nobody fucked with me. So I was just kind of myself. I was me. But at that point in time, I was okay with that because I was songwriting at that point. I started songwriting when I was 12 years old. That was my outlet. So while everybody was at recess or break time, lunch break, whatever the fuck you want to call it, I was sitting off in a corner on my phone typing down lyrics for songs, and that's the reason why, I am where I am today because, hell, my song Soldier, I wrote that when I was 18. My song I Need You Now on my album, I wrote it in high school. It was all, planned. That stuff was, I knew that I would be here at some point. I just didn't know when. I wanted it to be at that point, but it just don't work out that way sometimes.
No, life has this crazy thing of doing the shit it wants to do when it wants to do it.
Mm-hmm. But I will tell you this though, I'm so glad, I'm so appreciative that it went the way it did because of the fact that, man, if I wouldn't have gone through what I've gone through, I would not be near the man I am today. Not even half of it. Let's say I wouldn't be writing a book right now telling people, ways to improve their mindset. I wouldn't be being able to write a book saying, this is how to live, this is how to love, this is how to do this. This is how to change your mind and to be healthy, to help other people. Like I'm writing a book to help other people and to teach other people how to help other people. I'm not just writing a book on how to change your mindset. I'm writing a book on how to change the fucking world. And it's like, to me, that's mind blowing because whether the whole world sees it or one person sees it, if it affects that one person, I did my job. I've done my job. My whole purpose for writing songs was to relate to people, was to help people with my words. The whole reason why I sing is because I wanted to broadcast that. I wanted to project that to as many people as possible. I wanted to be relatable to as many people as possible and to help as many people as possible with my words. Mm-hmm. And I put music out. I've done that. And right now I'm going through a pretty bad spell of writer's block. And, so I needed another outlet. And writing my book now, my daily affirmations page, dude, it has changed me completely. Let's say I was honestly, like, at first I wasn't living the words that I was writing. I wasn't, I wasn't doing everything that I was telling people, hey, you should do this to improve up here, to improve right here. I wasn't doing that.
You were doing the do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
The do as I say, not as I do syndrome.
One of my favorite quotes out of my book, one of my favorite daily affirmations was, you do not have to be the wisest man to spread wisdom.
That is damn true. That is very, very true.
And I started taking that to heart, and every page that I've written, I would take a look at, and I would do a self-reflection and like, how can I work on this today? Mm-hmm. And what am I going to work on today? Because, sometimes, most of the time I was writing it in the morning, that way it could affect as many people as it could during the day.
Right.
That way I can catch somebody before their day got bad, and see if I can either steer their day in the right direction, or if they catch it at night, then it's something to catch them, before it gets too hard. That they're like, oh shit, I can relate to that. Let's reflect on that tomorrow and see what we can do better.
Right. I'm interested. You said you started writing at 12 years old.
Yes.
I'm interested as to. I know we keep jumping around. Everybody listening, I know we keep jumping around, and too bad, because you've listened to other podcasts and you know this is exactly how it fucking goes. So deal with
rabbit
it.
holes.
Rabbit holes. At 12 years old, you start writing. What was it that brought you to writing? Like, where did that come from?
Honestly,
were any of your parents songwriters?
Nope.
So how did
nope.
that start?
No one in my family was musically inclined whatsoever. Whatsoever. And no one in my family had the interest to be either. There was no one really in my family that was, striving to just help as many people as possible either.
But where did that idea come from at 12 years old?
So it's actually a funny story. So my mom and my stepdad, they wanted to adopt.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the kids that they were potentially debating on bringing in, you could tell that he'd been through some trouble, with life. I want to say he was 16 years old. I want to say his name was Jesse or something like that. I don't know. But this kid, he brought in a song. He was writing a song one day the first time I ever met him, because they brought him in for us to meet and hang out and trying to, see if it was going to work out.
Mm-hmm.
And, he had a guitar and, well, actually I think I had a guitar at the time, and he was writing songs, and I just thought it was the coolest shit. And, like I said, you could tell he was troubled. He'd gone through some hell, and, I think he was pretty good into drugs at that point, but he was an older, like 17 almost, probably, like he wasn't going to be there very long.
Right.
My parents were more just helping them out, at
so
that point.
they were fostering kids as well then.
Well, no, they weren't fostering. They wanted to.
Oh, okay. So there was. I'm not sure exactly how that works. I do know, like, growing up, there was a family across the street that fostered a kid for a little bit. The kid that ended up not working out, so they fostered another one. That one ended up not working out, and then, I think, the third or fourth kid that they fostered, they ended up adopting.
Yeah.
It's weird how that whole structure works. It's like a trial, keep it if you like it type thing, and that whole idea just bothers me.
I know. I can completely understand that.
But at the same time, I get it when it comes to older kids, because now you're dealing with somebody that has developed their own mindset, developed their own personality by that point. It's not like a child, like a baby, where you can help develop all those things. You're taking in a child that already has a mindset, that already's been through experiences in life, that has an idea about how and where their life is going to go. Yeah, that's going to, at that point, you got to see if personalities are going to mesh. So yeah, exactly. I get that aspect compared to like a really younger child, but it's still like that whole try it, if you like it, buy it. That whole, I don't know, man. Just when you look at it in the lamest terms, that's how it sounds. I think there's a better way. I think there's a better way we can do that.
I could definitely agree on that. I could definitely say that I feel if you're trying to adopt, if you find one that you like and you point it out, that one's yours. Like, right. It's kind of like, when they go into the hospital room and they're trying to figure out which baby's which. If they don't have a daggum toe tag, they just grab one, I guess. But
toe tag? I think toe tags are for dead people.
Oh yeah, well, that's I don't have kids. I'm not.
No, you're good. You're good. They're usually just a sign. They just placard a sign up to the bin that the baby's in. Whatever. We're getting off track here. Anyway, So this kid comes in, and you're noticing that he's writing, and you guys start. It sounds like you guys got along a little bit for him to start showing you his writing and hanging out a little bit.
I won't say that we really got much time. I mean, I think that was the only time that he ever came over, was one time.
Oh. Wow. So it only took that one time for you to get hooked on to what writing can do?
I just seen him writing. To be honest with you, I don't even know that this song. There's a song that was already called Bad Company.
Mm-hmm.
But he had wrote a song that was called Bad Company, but it was talking about some of the stuff that he had gone through, and I thought that was cool. I thought that it was cool that he was able to put the things that he'd gone through into on a piece of paper and put it into a rhythm and a melody. Now, was he a good singer? No. Was he a great songwriter? No. But at the same time, I had no fucking clue what I was looking at that point in time. So I was like, it's just words. But I started taking it with me, and one of the biggest reasons why I'd gotten into writing, you watch a lot of movies back. My mom was a big chick flick lady,
mm-hmm.
and which now I'm a big chick flick guy. Which don't tell the ladies that, because they might start liking me a little more.
Maybe not.
I don't know. Now guys my buddies will make fun of me, but the ladies, they'll like me a little more.
Here's the thing. Guys will make fun of you head to toe, but that's because they got to go through the same damn shit when it comes to having to watch chick flicks with the girls. Right?
Yep.
And then they're crying at the end of Notebook along with their chick, but God willing, their chick ain't recording, or their boy doesn't walk in catching them doing it. So,
Yep.
we all know it's fucking true. I didn't cry. I didn't cry in Notebook. Yes, I did. But no, it's interesting how you fell into this songwriting stuff, man, because you're noticing this guy, and what really caught my eye or caught my ears, you said he was writing down things that he was going through, and I thought that was cool. It was like you had this epiphany that I can let what's going on in here out. Yeah, it's almost like at 12 years old you realized I can let this out.
Yeah, like I can put this on paper, and like I couldn't tell I sure as shit didn't know at that point in time, because until you put pen to paper, or you put words on your phone, or until you let those words out of you, that story out of you, it's you're not gonna feel that outlet.
Mm-hmm.
When you let that story out, when you're telling people in your own way your story, your situation, your epiphany, it's a whole different ball game than seeing someone else do it.
So what led you to keep doing it from 12 and through high school? What was that motivation to keep writing?
My motivation to keep writing was I fell in love with the outlet. I didn't know whether I was going to be any good at singing at that point. Did I want to be? Yeah, let's say I was listening to Chris Young and John Michael Montgomery and Tracy Byrd and all sorts of people at that point in time. I was listening to all sorts of different country singers, and just hearing everything that they had gone through put into a song. That's like, and the way that it helped me in my situations. Like, I'm not gonna lie, so now I was not a people person in half. Like, I wasn't I wasn't the guy with a lot of friends, but being the guy with not a lot of friends meant that I was kind of the outlier. People were curious about me, and you know what mystery does with women? It intrigues them. So during from probably 8th grade to senior year, not that you'd see it at school, but the women were around, and so
bit of a ladies' man.
I was a bit of a ladies' man on the down low, low key, or whatever the kids are calling it these days.
I have no idea.
I think it's low key, but I'm not sure. But
okay,
we're gonna go with that.
We'll go with low key.
I'm a low key ladies' man, and I at that point in time I enjoyed it. Of course, at 12, 13 years old, you think that's cool as shit, but I started going through, these different situations that not most kids that age go through. When I was 14, I'd gotten a girl pregnant. He had a miscarriage, and that fucked me up.
I could imagine.
That fucked me. Well, for one, it fucked me up that I got a girl pregnant at 14. I was like, I'm 14 years old. I don't have a worker's permit. How am I supposed to, feed a baby?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm freaking out, but I had to push through that depression. That hurt a lot, and it wasn't, like, I didn't have to go through that again until I want to say I was 20, 20 or 21. I didn't have to go through that situation until then again.
20 or 21. For reference, how old are you now?
I'm 24.
Okay, so you're still a young kid. You still got a long way to go.
Oh, I still got plenty of life to live and plenty of people to help. But I will say this, as a 24-year-old, I've gone through more experiences than most have. Right. Just because of the life that I chose to live. Because, when I did start gaining friends, they weren't my age. I started, Lord, please help. Lord help me. I hope I don't. I don't know how this is going to go. When I was in high school,
mm-hmm.
I was the shine guy.
Got you.
I was the shine guy. I found some folks that I could get moonshine from, and I was the shine guy. So I was making buddies that, I was freshman year, and I was selling shine to seniors.
Right.
And so that got me into, a party here and there. Not that I was popular, not that they were my friends, but they liked my moonshine.
Right. You were an opportunity that they were taking advantage of.
Yes, definitely. Definitely an opportunity to take advantage of. But I did make some of my good buddies now then, but mm-hmm. they weren't that at that point in time, but they are now, since then. But it was definitely really cool to meet some of the people that I did just because of that. Let's say I was hanging out with the older crowd, so I was experiencing the same thing that they were experiencing when I hung out with them. Mm-hmm. And I did a lot of shit that, like I said, at that people at that age didn't do, or at my age didn't do.
Right.
And I've pretty much done that my whole life. When I say I grew up on a farm earlier, so somewhat down a rabbit hole here. When I say I grew up on a farm, we've got a 450 acre ranch that I live on now. Mm-hmm. When I was 3 years old, I was chasing cattle on a four wheeler, jumping off and tagging cow. That was my summer. I was picking up rocks, picking up sticks out of 450 acres, so that we could do hay. I was moving cattle. You know, I was doing this, doing that. I grew up quick. You know, I knew the value of work. I knew, you know, that there was shit to be done. By the time I was 14 years old, I was a ranch hand up in Mayflower. There was a little ranch next to me, and I started helping over there. By the time I was in my senior year of high school, I had 3 different jobs, and I was still pursuing music and was still a straight A student. You know, I was working my ass off because music is what I wanted to do, and that's what I was putting all that time, effort, and money towards. You know, like I was getting as many experiences as I could because I knew that that's the only way that I was going to relate in my songs was from experience. Because you'll hear it a million times as a kid, you know, you're too young to know about that. What does that make when someone tells you you don't know about something or you can't do this? What do?
You go do it.
You go do it.
Yep, absolutely.
It's that.
Absolutely. It's interesting to hear your story, man. I'm still baffled that all it took was meeting a potential adoptee at your mother's house for you to find out about writing, and then continue that, find this passion for it, but then of course you're having this mindset of I need to experience as much as I can, but for my writing, for my music. And
because it wasn't for me though. It wasn't just for me. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to. It wasn't just an outlet for me. It was, like I said, a way for me to relate. I didn't have friends, so I wanted to relate. I wanted someone to relate to me. So I was searching for anything at that point, you know, like, and you know, you see it in the movies. The singers are always the cool guy.
You wanted to be the cool guy.
I mean,
it's okay. Yeah, you can say it. Yeah.
I wanted to be the cool guy. So really, I just wanted to be noticed. I wanted, at that point in
time. It's funny you're saying that because my question would be then, what made you feel unnoticed?
The fact that I didn't have the friends, the fact that, you know, I did solo myself out a lot during high school to do my writing, to do this and that, but you know, there was no one else that had that same passion. There was not, you know, people doing the same thing to relate to. I had no one to relate to, and I wanted people to relate. And you know, the situations that I, you know, got myself into, I knew that other people had gotten into. I knew that someone has felt this at some point. I knew someone has done this at some point, and I knew somebody, you know, would feel this way at some point. Especially being, you know, a kid that was bullied. I don't know if you've ever heard the song "Invisible" by Hunter Hayes.
I probably have, but I can't recall it right now.
It goes something like crowded hallway, the loneliest places for outcasts and rebel, or anyone who just dares to be something different. And that right there, that was my theme song of high school, because I was daring to be something different. I didn't want to be a farmer like my grandpa. I didn't want to work my fucking ass off like my stepdad and my dad had to do. Like I didn't want to have to do that, you know, that manual labor every day and not be where I could spend time with my family when I wanted to spend time with my family.
Right.
Because, you know, they work their asses off. I'll give that to my dad. I will give that to my stepdad all day, every day. You know, they work their asses. My dad worked his ass off till the day he died. So I'll say the only time that he really took off was to go fishing or to go hunting.
Which are 2 legitimate reasons not to work so hard. I'm just saying. Those are the 2 most legitimate reasons, besides your kids and family, and you know, wife's questionable, but besides your kids and going hunting and fishing.
Yeah, you know, I've seen them work their asses off, and I knew that, I was willing to work my ass off to get where I wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing that they were doing, that's the same thing that they're doing, still now though. And I wanted to push myself. I had people telling me left and right that I wasn't going to be this, that I wasn't going to be this singer. I wasn't going to be able to do it. And I called bullshit.
Right. Well, it's the same thing as you said. You don't know because you've never done it. So what are you going to do? Go fucking do it.
I'm going to go fucking do it.
Exactly. And it's crazy how that becomes motivation for a lot of people. Like, you can't do that. You can't do it this way. You can't do it that way. It's not going to work this way. It's not going to work that way. And the next thing you know, we're saying, fucking watch me. Watch me. Watch me.
I had a song called Can You Hear Me Now? And I wrote this. This was one of my first songs that I ever wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And it was talking about how, you said I never make it. You said I never get this far, but I'm going to show you just how wrong you are. So here I am. I'm never going to stop. Here I am on my way to the top. Can you hear me now? And that my plan for that song was, the first time I ever hit the radio, I wanted it to be that song. Of course, I got down the ways, and it just wasn't the best song in the world. I mean, yeah, it's cool lyrics and all, but it just didn't have a whole lot of structure at that time. So
still needs some more fine tuning at that point.
It definitely needed some fine tuning. I'm pretty sure that one's it's not in the mental trash, but it's definitely been deleted off the list of songs to record.
Okay. I'm gonna take us, because we are going down a rabbit hole, and I'm gonna stop us before we do, because we will get back to this conversation. I promise. We're gonna get back to all your music. We're gonna get back to all that. But I want us to still kind of go through all this. Now, to this point, I want to say thank you for sharing everything you're sharing, and and being open with it. And it's interesting to hear how you developed yourself as you're growing up through the bullying. You use the bullying a lot. You mentioned the bullying a lot. You used it to really kind of define yourself and to characterize yourself, and use it as either a driving factor to be something different, or use it as a driving factor to learn from. And I'm hearing the story, and it's like, wow, yeah, you went through some pretty fucked up shit at home. You was being bullied at school. It took this one instance with this one possible adoptee to find his passion in life. And it's crazy how that shit happens, by the way. When you find your passion, most random fucking things. But you're going through all this stuff. You're going through high school. You're trying to find yourself. It sounds this whole journey so far sounds like you're still trying to find out who you are, or trying to become something to find out who you are. But at some point after high school, you decide to join the armed forces. Where the hell did that come from?
So I took the ASVAB in high school. I didn't score the super highest, but I didn't do bad. I don't remember what I scored, so don't. That's one question I won't be able to answer. So,
well, what even prompted you to even want to take the ASVAB? I mean, because that's a choice.
They had us take the ASVAB at school.
They had you take it? Like you had to take it?
If I'm not mistaken, we were told we were to take the ASVAB.
That's the first I've ever heard of that.
We might not have had to, but I know I did.
Right.
I took it. We took it at school. By say, I'm pretty sure I think it was mandatory, but I'm not sure. To be honest with you, I was in a program called JAG, Job for Arkansas Graduates. So I got to leave for work halfway through the day of school. Because like I said, I was working 3 jobs and still pursuing music and still going to high school. So, I took the ASVAB, didn't score the best. That wasn't my plan. I was like, that's not what I plan on doing. But, I definitely kept it in my head as an option. And, when I lost my dad, so I'd already gone into a bit of a depression before that, just because of shit at school, and like with bullying and stuff like that. You go through a breakup at that point in time, and it's fucking like life
The end of the world, right?
It's the end of the fucking world. I think I got cheated on or some shit at that point in time. I went into a deep depression,
mm-hmm.
and I started watching Sons of Anarchy. So that was definitely. You ever hear the term empath, or empathetic, you feel what they're feeling. I'm not gonna lie, that show, that'll get you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not gonna lie, like I stayed in my bed with depression pretty much half my senior year. I was stuck in a bed, if I wasn't working. Like when I was at home, I didn't eat. I didn't do shit other than work my ass off, come home and write songs.
And this was because of the breakup.
Well, this is because everything all together. Let's say
breakup, all that other stuff.
Well, plus that same year was the year that I didn't talk to my dad.
Oh, that's right. That's after your fight with your father. That's right.
Yeah, that's after the fight with my dad. So it's like I'm not talking to dad at this point. I've got all this shit going on, So I fell into a pretty bad depression. I was 235 pounds, 6 foot tall at this time. I went from being 235 pounds to being 170 real quick.
Oh, shit.
Real quick. The depression just fucking ate that shit away.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I moved out of my mom's house, I lost my dad. I dropped down to 159. I was going downhill quick. Hell, everyone thought I was on drugs. I've never touched drugs in my life. Depression will fucking eat you. It will eat your body away if you let it. Because, like I said, I didn't eat. I stayed in bed. There was days that I didn't fucking move. That I just let it cripple me because it was up here. I didn't want to move from my one little safe spot.
Right.
Because if I went out into the world, something was fucking gonna get me. It felt like, and so I was watching out, but I decided if I was gonna be skinny, that I was gonna have abs, and that meant I needed to work out. So I went to the gym. When I hit the gym, it changed everything. Everything. I started working out. I changed my mindset. Hell, I've been smoking for years at that point. I decided I was like, I think I could quit smoking right about now. I didn't, but I could have. I felt like
I didn't, but I feel like I could have.
I felt like I could have, and so I ended up. I was like, no, like that's. I'm gonna keep working out, and then I got kicked out of the house that I was in at that point and was homeless. And I was like, okay, I'm fucking lost. Like I've just lost everything. I don't even have I didn't have a vehicle until right before that. I finally got my truck fixed, from getting it totaled on a fucking deer.
Right. How old were you when this was going down?
This is 18. Fresh 18.
Still 18. So 18 sounds like it was a fucking horrible year for you.
Yeah. Let's say this was, well, technically I think it was 2017. Yeah, 2017.
God, I feel old talking to you. It's okay. It's okay.
Let's say, You'll feel older here in a little while, but I'm sure I'll say something else that you're gonna be like, "Fuck!" Now I really feel old.
Yeah, 18 in 2017. God,
yeah,
damn,
something like that. Yeah.
Wow. Right. All right. So we're still going. You find the gym's helping you. I'm still waiting to hear what the hell got you into the armed services.
So I ended up in a psych ward.
When you got after you got kicked out of the house.
Yeah.
Okay.
yes, it was after I got kicked out of the house, but so there was a trial for the guy who killed my dad.
Mm-hmm.
He was a 17-year-old kid. I've heard multiple stories. I've heard, he went out and partied all night and then went duck hunting and, fell asleep at the wheel. Then I've also heard the story that, he might have possibly been high on Duster. There's no way for me to tell you or anything like that. But one way or another, 17-year-old kid, crashed into my dad and my uncle, killed my dad and my uncle both that day. And so I needed an outlet. And so I had the gym, and then all of a sudden, there's a trial. I went to the trial, and they gave this kid, yes, he's 17. And looking at it now, I don't know it. I don't completely feel much different than I did at that point in time. Because, hell, I'm not going to lie to you. At that point in time, I was trying to whip that motherfucker's ass. But I wanted him to see jail time. You just killed two people with a vehicle. At least it's vehicular manslaughter. Mm-hmm. And from what I had heard, he'd already been in 3 wrecks beforehand. Where he'd hurt a little girl, and this is hearsay at the moment, like at that time, and we found out later that it was true, that he'd been in 3 other wrecks beforehand. So, it's at this point it's reckless driving, right. To me. And
I think at that point it's a choice. You know what you're doing because you've done it several times before.
Yeah. And so, he's been in multiple wrecks, and the city or, the state or city or whatever department the court was. I don't know what kind of court date it was, but it was, held at White County, courthouse out here. And, they said that they were only going to give him a $180 fine for killing 2 people. And I'm not going to lie to you. At that point, I stormed out of this courthouse, and I went straight to the gun shop. I went and I bought, if I'm not mistaken, it was my first shotgun. Mm-hmm. And I'm not gonna lie, I had ill intent. I don't know if it was for me or for him, but I had ill intent. I was pissed. I was livid over what was going on, but I was so scared. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was scared to death because I knew that I was getting out of control. Mm-hmm. I was livid. I was out of control. I was angry, depressed. I had so many different feelings going on. And I had no clue what the fuck to do with them. And I was scared that I was going to hurt him or hurt myself, or, so I put myself in a psych ward, not too long after that.
You made the conscious choice of going.
Yes, I went through the conscious choice. I say, if you ask White County Medical Center, I think they're Unity now, but White County Medical Center, I was probably the happiest depressed person ever to come in and be like, look, I might be, a danger to myself and other people. Can you put me in a psych ward? Mm-hmm. Of course, to be honest with you, that really wasn't my plan. I went to a doctor before that same day, and told them what was going on, because I was trying to get medicine.
Right.
I was trying to get it put on some meds or something. Of course, I'm glad that they did put me in a psych ward, because, like I said, I don't know if meds would have kept me from what I was planning on, like what I had in my head at that time. I needed to decompress.
I don't want you to take anything away from yourself here. Now, I've done a lot of research, and I've done a lot of research on mental health because of my nonprofit and what I do for civil service members and stuff. And going through a depressive episode like you were going through, I mean, you just went through the tragedy of losing your father to a drunk driver, or to an intoxicated driver. I'm not going to say drunk, we don't know, but intoxicated. You lost your father and your uncle. They give this kid a fucking, not even a slap on the wrist. And now you're trying to figure out how to deal with making this all make sense. Right?
I was having that. Plus, I was trying to figure out how the hell I was going to trust the society that I lived in, where they were going to, like $180 was worth 2 lives.
I could only imagine the questions and the anger and the frustration and the sadness of losing your father and your uncle, and your brain, the human mind, is not made to be able to handle all those stresses all at once, especially large stresses like that. It's just, our brain's not capable of doing it. But at one point, you had, even if it was just a minute of clarity, you had a minute of clarity to say, I need help.
Yep.
And you went and took it. And especially at a young age. Believe it or not, your brain's still developing right now. Because 26 years old is about the time your brain stops. Your brain's pretty much set in its ways at about 26 years old. So you still have some time to develop and do all this other stuff. But, at 18, 19 years old, you make this conscious decision to go and get help. And yes, you may have not been, I need to go to a psych ward right away, but you were looking for help. You were like, I need to change my mindset. At the time, you could have been ignorant as to how mental health worked. You thought meds are going to be the way to do it. You were still looking for help.
Yeah.
Right? You weren't just looking for a numb. You were looking for help. You were looking to stop the thought processes and to change the thought processes. Yep. That's a good thing. Thank God for your doctor and being aware of what was going on to refer you to a psychiatric facility. But even then, that was still your choice to go.
Yeah, but they didn't call someone to come pick me up from the doctor. So what they told me, they were like, we want you to go to White County Medical Center. They've got a 24-hour hold. They're gonna put you on a 24-hour hold. And I'm like, cool, because I gotta be at work like 2 days from now. So I go over there. They're like, we're gonna put you on a talking about how they're gonna put me on a 24-hour hold. Well, I get in there, and I tell them what's going on. Hell, I stopped and got pizza on the way. Like I said, I was the happiest depressed person that you would ever meet at that point in time. But just because of the fact that I knew I was getting help, like that shit made me happy as fuck.
Right.
Because I knew it wasn't going to last, but I was happy at that point. I was like, hell yeah, I'm fixing to get some help.
You had a glimmer of hope.
Yeah, I had hope. Exactly. Stopped and got some pizza. Asked if they wanted some at the hospital. Hung out there for a little while, and then they told me that they were going to have me on a 72-hour hold.
Right.
At a psychiatric facility. So I'm like, okay, cool. Well, that 72-hour hold turned into double that because apparently, the doctors aren't there on the weekends.
Right.
They were doctor's hours, and I was like, well, that's a little fucked up. So I ended up losing that job, and this is where we start getting back into the story of why I got into the Army.
Mm-hmm.
So we weren't completely in a rabbit hole there. It was worming back up.
Yeah, you're good.
I lost my job that I had at that time. I was working at an ice cream factory here. And when I got fired from there, I was like, okay, so I don't know what I'm going to do. Well, the house that I had moved into, that my buddy was letting me stay at that point in time, I got kicked out of that place because I lost my job. So, that there was no way that I could pay them. Mm-hmm. So they kicked me out of there, and I moved to Marshall, Arkansas, which my stepdad that I was telling you about earlier in the evening, that my stepdad, he was like, okay, look, I will let you go to the cabin, which we have 250 acres in the mountains, like I told you earlier. And, we went up there, and he got me fixed up in the cabin. I found a job up there working for a charcoal factory. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I was having pretty much the time of my life, other than I was working my fucking ass off, and I wanted more. Plus, I was far away from any gym. I was so far away from any gym. The only thing that I knew at that point made me feel better. The only thing that was making me feel better was working out. And so, of course, my dumb ass was, I was like, I'm not going to work at home. That's not near as fun.
Right.
But, I decided, what's one thing that I can do where I would, at that point in time, I was sitting here thinking about my mental health. I was like, what's one thing that I could do to get paid to work out? One of the biggest things that you do in the military, you work out. You fucking build yourself to be a warrior. You build yourself to fight for this country. You build your body. You're building, your mind, your heart, your everything. Everything about you at that. When you go into the Army, you're changing everything. When they say they break you down and build you back up, that is no joke. They will break you mentally, they will break you physically, and they will build you into a soldier, into a warrior for this country. That's what they do. That is their job. And that's what, that's what I felt like I needed at that point. I was like, I need some consistency in my life. I need to get away from all the shit that I had going on at home. I needed to get put some distance between me and it. And I needed to focus on my mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So, Army. That's pretty good choice. I mean, I went and took the ASVAB again, scored pretty good, and what I wanted to do in the Army was I wanted to, do something where I could come out and, have a guaranteed job. I could have, pretty much whatever, kind of construction job that I could, make it in when I got out. Like I'd be set, I'd be pretty well set. And, so I chose 12th November, which is horizontal construction engineer. And, I was ready to go, man. I was all about it. Because for one, I was fixing to get to help people. Two, I was fixing to get to work out.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew I was going to be helping myself, and I was going to get to help my country. So I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. And the rest is history, break my legs 8 weeks in. And, now, I found out while I was in there, to be honest with you, I knew that I wanted to be a singer, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty much in game, be a singer. Or at least be a songwriter if I couldn't sing.
Right.
And, so I was pushing myself to put myself in a better financial situation so I could do what I wanted to do. And that's what I went out and did. I put myself at that point. I put myself in a better financial situation. I saved up enough money just from basic training, just from being in there and not spending any money, because hell, I was there for 6 months, not paying for shit,
Right.
other than necessities. So my bank account was pretty stocked up. I went out and I bought myself a new guitar, and when I came out, I had a new guitar. I was ready to go. And I wrote the song Soldier, my song Soldier, that is on my album. I wrote it before I went in, but it was to help motivate me to get through. But it's a multi-purpose song, is what I call the songs like this one. It wasn't just to do that. So that's what it started out as. And then when I looked at this song, when I put more words to it than just an idea. It became a song for every single person out there, every single person in this world, because we all battle something. We all have to soldier up. We all have to battle our own mental battle, our, debt. We all have to battle depression. We battle, abuse. We battle everyday things that just could mentally cripple us. And somehow we soldier up and we fucking power through. And that's what the song Soldier is all about. It's not about being a soldier in the army. It's about being a soldier of life.
Mm-hmm.
But it can be, like I said, it's a multi-purpose song. It could go for PTSD. It could be for anything, any battle that we face.
But I think songs in general are just, they're an art, right? And just like a painting, you can look at the painting, you could have 50 different people look at this painting and feel something different from that painting. Doesn't necessarily mean that painting is designed to create one specific emotion, because people are going to look at something and they take what they've experienced in their lives and then they give that visualization of whatever they're seeing meaning to themselves. It's the same thing with music. If you're putting out, it's an art. People are going to listen to it, and depending on what's going on in their lives and what they can relate to it, that's how they are going to see it. And so, yeah, absolutely. I think most music is multi-purpose, believe it or not.
I agree.
And I say most music. I do not say all music, because there's some music that's not. But I think that music in the art itself is meant to be multi-purpose. Like, I truly believe that's what it's meant to be. So, are you good?
Yeah, I'm great.
Okay.
Just in this light.
Oh, okay. And when did you medically retire from the army, or medically discharged from the army?
I was discharged. It was 6 months after I went in.
How old are you?
I went in at 19, so, and I came out 20, so whatever, 20 years from fucking.
Right, no, you're good. You're good.
20 years, 98, whatever that is.
Right, you're good. So I'm interested, what have you been... Sorry, say it again?
I said, I think it was 20, I want to say it was 2018. I can tell you, hold on.
You were 20 years old. You were 20 years old, that's all I need.
Yeah.
You're 20 years old. Yeah, that's
cool.
all I need.
That's all we need.
Yeah.
Cool.
You're 20. Yeah, you're
all right, hold
on. You're 20 years old, but you're 24 now. What have you been doing since then?
Since then, I've done a little bit of everything, to be honest with you. I have worked factories. I have worked concrete. I have worked as an electrician's apprentice. I have done a little bit of everything. Hell, I've cleaned carpets. Mm-hmm. But through all that, I was still singing. I've had so many jobs since then, because it wasn't that I was, I wasn't showing up, or I, couldn't hold the job. It wasn't that I couldn't hold the job, that I didn't want to. Mm-hmm. I wanted to find something that was meant for me, but none of that was meant for me, because I knew in my heart, my soul, and my brain. I was like, yeah, none of this shit's gonna be what I need, because I'm gonna be a singer. This is gonna help me out. This is gonna get me to the next show. This is gonna get me to this. This is gonna get me to that. But this isn't where I plan on being forever. This isn't what I plan on doing. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't looking for a backup plan, because if you have a plan B, and most of the time your plan A won't work, because or at least that's the way I've always looked at it in my head. There's something that I heard that stuck with me, I guess. If you have a plan B, your plan A normally won't work. You're not looking at your plan A like it's all you have. You're looking at that plan B like, oh, I can fall back on that anytime,
Mm-hmm.
No, like me, music is what I have. Music is not in game; it's the only game. It's the only thing that I will ever do.
When did music become a little bit more of a constant for you? It sounds like it's been pretty recently. I mean, shit, within the last 4 years is still pretty recently when you consider a music artist. But
I've always been pretty consistent with music. Just, I was always performing.
mm-hmm. How were you doing that?
I would go to open mics. I would go to, little shows that my buddies will, that they had a show that they didn't mind me coming in playing a song or two, three. Sometimes I'd play a whole show with them. I was always performing with some, almost once a week until like, I want to say it was 2019 when I ended up, I started working a job that was out of state a lot. I was traveling a lot, and I really needed to get back into it. And so I ended up in the World Karaoke Tour, which was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up getting 20th in the world Karaoke Tour at that point in time. Which that same trip, I got drunk and had a really good time, and actually ended up getting engaged for the first time. And
you started getting engaged with, I got drunk, I had a really good time, and then I got engaged.
Yeah, pretty much. That was pretty much my Vegas trip. It was in Vegas.
Oh, well, there you go. That makes a little bit more sense. When you say Vegas, that makes a hell of a lot more sense.
Yeah, let's say this was in Vegas. So I got drunk. I had a great time because I was single, and then I got engaged.
How did that work out? Is that still working out?
No. That did not work out. Let's say it turns out, when you get engaged with somebody that you don't really know, because I don't mean that I got engaged to someone that I've been talking to for a long time.
I got it, man. I you know what? We hear you.
Yes.
I think we got it.
he heard he heard what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. He's trying to help me out here, you guys.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. Oh, man.
Help me out.
So, what do you have going on now? Now, you've had a pretty crazy life. You've had a lot of different professions. You've had a not so easy childhood. High school was hell, especially your senior year. And not the best of luck with the Army because of you breaking your legs. And now, 4 years after that, do you see yourself starting to make a little bit more progress to that goal?
I definitely do. Let's say I'm at my goal. To be honest with you, I'm going to let you in on a secret for me. Mm-hmm. When it comes to me, I would love to get famous. That's not the goal though. That's not the reason why I want to be there. Mm-hmm. I'm not looking for the attention. I'm looking for the broadcast. I'm looking for the platform, because the bigger the platform that I can be on right now, mm-hmm. with what I've got going, with this book, with my song Soldier, with, my idea of music and people, helping people, and just music is not just an outlet for, like, by writing, but listening. You get an outlet just by listening to music. You can, just by hearing one song that song can change your life forever. You could hear a song that you relate to, and it could change your life.
Mm-hmm.
I've had many of them. I've had many of them do it. I've had many pull me out from the deepest, darkest holes. I've had some that, hell, it seemed like they put me in the deepest, darkest holes. But when I looked at them, I related to them. So, if you're able to relate to something, it means you're not alone. That means that someone else has been there, someone else has made it through there to tell you their story. And that's what I want to do. I want to get to a high enough place where I can show everybody, hey, I've gone through a whole lot of experiences. So most likely I can relate to just about fucking anybody.
Mm-hmm. And
say, look, I've been to this low, this low, this low, this low, this low. I've fallen off this hill and hit this rock bottom, but I let that rock bottom be the start to my hill uprise. I let it be my start to the top. I let it be my hill to climb. And I looked around and I watched the beauty of the climb. And hell, to be completely honest with you, I watched the beauty of the fall. If you can look back at the beauty of your fall, because, yeah, it sucks. Getting your heart broke, it sucks. Losing someone, it sucks. It's terrible. But when you look back and you reflect on everything that led to that point, that followed from that point, and what your mind did, what your heart did, there was so much change. There was you changed the people around you, the people around you changed you. You have all of this opportunity in there to climb. You have all this opportunity to fall. And most of the time, when you hit rock bottom, you have a climb. And it's crazy that I'm even talking about this right now, because my page in my book today, you're probably gonna have to edit for a second.
For what?
I said you'll probably have to edit this because I'm gonna end up having to search for this. Give me a second.
Oh, you're good. It's interesting that you use the term rock bottom. I was just at an event where I was the MC for the event, the Great Londini meetup in Cocoa Beach, Florida. We're benefiting Tackle 22 Fishing, which is a nonprofit that helps our veterans. And I said almost those same exact words, that with a lot of these people that share their stories, that share their turnaround, when they finally realize that moment that something's got to change, they're telling you the stories of their rock bottom. They're telling you the story of hitting rock bottom, where they feel like if they went any lower, it's going to be 6 feet under that rock.
Yep.
And that's the ultimate rock bottom, which we try to stay away from. But when you hit rock bottom, that's when you're realizing something's got to give. I need to do something here.
Mm-hmm.
And we start sharing those stories of rock bottom because that's the turning point. And we share those stories of rock bottom in hopes that we stop somebody from hitting that rock bottom, because it is not a graceful landing.
It's not.
It's a face first, broken nose, jaw, teeth, everything type of landing. And when we share our stories of our rock bottoms, it's not only healing for us, but it's in hopes that we can, stop that descent of somebody else.
Exactly. And I, to be honest with, my biggest thing is we're not going to stop anyone from doing anything. But I will tell you this, our words right now, if whoever's listening right now,
mm-hmm.
if they relate to it, if just if someone was to hear this from a crowd, like that's sitting next to whoever's listening to this, and that person is in that situation, they're gonna hear this and they're gonna go, "Holy shit, I can relate." Mm-hmm. Holy shit, like I've hit a rock bottom before. They're gonna it's gonna catch their ear, and it's gonna resonate. Resonation has so much to do with your mindset. Like I said, you could see something. It's just like trauma. Okay, so this is really fun to try to explain. You can hear something right now, and you may not remember it tomorrow. You may not remember it the next day. Now, you might not remember it 5 minutes from now. But when you hit a situation that's similar, you're gonna remember these words, and you're gonna be like, "Holy shit!" Mm-hmm. And our words right now could change the world, man. That shit blows my mind. I'm not gonna lie to you. It blows my mind, and that's the reason why I do what I do. Because the words that I sing, the words that you say on your podcast, the words that you say to your neighbor when you walk outside to check your fucking mail, it could change their life. It could change your life. Just that. Okay. There's one thing that I was told by a guy that I really respect. He actually does my merchandise for my hats and my company that I own, Raise Different Apparel. But he said these words, and they just hit me. They hit me so different. I asked him, I said, "Can I put that in my book?" And he told me yes, and he said, "There's no such thing as coincidences, only divine encounters." And that stuck with me. That is one thing that will always stick with me, because me talking to you today, whoever's listening to this now, there's a reason why you're hearing this, why I'm talking to you, why you're talking to me. My words could affect you later on down the road. Your words, this situation, me talking about these things with you, that it's going to change everything. It changes our outlook, our mindset, our heart, and it could change the world. Just that could change the world, man. You could go on tomorrow and say the same thing that I just told you, or I could go on and say the same thing that you said to me, someone else, and it could affect them, and it's just a chain effect.
Right.
And there's a song called "The Chain of Love" by I want to say Clay Walker. That it'll always stick with me, because that's all it is. It's just talking about how one person helped this person, and then all of a sudden the chain of love ended up back helping him out, because the guy helped this woman, the woman ended up helping a waitress. Well, the waitress ended up helping her, ended up being the guy's wife, and they were in financial trouble, and it just.
It's crazy, the butterfly effect that can happen when you just treat somebody the way you want to be treated.
Exactly.
By changing the world the way you want to see it change without letting the world dictate how that change happens. It's insane, the butterfly effect that happens to that. And for anybody that's not familiar with the butterfly effect, there's this theory that a simple flap of a butterfly's wings can be that one small gust that turns into this huge wave that can turn into a hurricane later on down the road. You just never know how exactly even the smallest movement of love or peace or helpfulness to somebody, how big of an impact that can have down the road. It's insane to think that is a possibility, but it is. And it always will be.
And exactly like you said, it is always the hugest possibility. I mean, like I was telling you, like this morning when I woke up. Well, I say when I woke up, I didn't really go to sleep last night, so I was on live, and I stopped because like I said, I put a deadline on myself to get my daily affirmation done, my page done for my book before midnight. Mm-hmm. I have to have it sent before midnight, posted before midnight. I haven't been hitting right at midnight with my posts. It's normally sent before midnight, though. I normally have it sent out to the people that I want it sent to before midnight. But today's friendly daily reminder, it says friendly daily reminders, day 73. Today I want to remind you that the place we call rock bottom is where the most beautiful things happen, where you'll find yourself at a crossroad, wondering how does it get better. That's the place where in your heart and in your head, there will be changes that are made that you don't even know are happening. Only you have the ability to make rock bottom the bottom of an uphill climb. Continue to see your bottom as the start to the top. Continue to live, laugh, and love, triple sweet. And it, like I told you, that ripple effect. I wrote that last night or this morning, whatever you want to call it.
And here we are talking about it.
And here we are by some divine encounter talking about this. And that's what I'm saying, man. It's crazy.
The world works in mysterious ways and God works in amazing ways. I truly believe that. And, you know, whatever your faith is, the world works in mysterious ways and goodness works in mysterious ways, period. Really, period, end of story. Well, man, I'm going to start winding it down, but I do have a couple more questions for you, in that you have something coming up with a friend of mine that's supposed to be on the show a little bit later on. But Bryce, Anthem Unsung, you guys got something else. This is going to be your chance to kind of let us know. One, I want to know how you got connected with him, because he's a good friend of mine. I met him in Dallas for the Law No Order tour, and I went out. This weird guy was, he was bagging on these girls or scaring them to the point where they were afraid to get out of their car. I went out there to go do something. Bryce just happened to see me do it, and he's like, where are we going? I looked like I was about to beat somebody's ass at that point, because I was walking with a fucking purpose. And he ended up just backing me up because he saw I had the, fire department logo, and he goes, oh, firefighter, I got his back no matter what. I was just like, well, not all firefighters are good, but I appreciate the fact that you came to back me up. But we took care of the situation and everything, and he introduced himself, and he's like, hi, I'm Bryce. I'm like, oh, hi, how you doing? He goes, Anthem Unsung, and I'm like, how you doing? I didn't know who he was. Fair point, though. He didn't know who I was either. So, yeah. But we ended up talking, and it was just this automatic brotherhood, like automatic. It was weird. But he's familiar with first responder realm and stuff. So, we hit it off. And then come to find out, I found out he was performing that night too. I didn't know he was performing that night. And, I was blown away, completely blown away that this connection was made out of complete divine circumstance, just divine circumstance. And from meeting him, I met Kat, who is now y'all's manager for this tour that you guys got coming up. But how did you guys meet?
So we met down in Louisiana at the Battle of the Bayou.
So you met the weekend after?
Yeah.
I met him. Okay. Cool. That's insane. Were you performing there?
Yes, I was. I was one of the acts that played up there. I got the luxury of playing both days. Great. I got to sing to more people, and that was the goal. That was the goal for me, was to sing to as many people as I could, while raising money for a good cause. We were helping raise money for those affected by the hurricane over there. So, and Soldier Solutions was around, so that, there were shirts going up with them, and FAFO, they were out there, and, not exactly sure who they raised money for. No, probably should leave that part out. But I don't know who they raised money for. But I know that they donate to a good cause. So I was there just so I could help raise money. That's all I wanted to do was get out there, help raise some money, and be able to sing to as many people as I could and possibly affect somebody. Plus I was already writing my book at that point in time, and I had some friends that were in some mental crisis at that point in time anyways, and I was like, I want to get down there and help out as much as I can.
So how did you and Bryce link up? Did you see him sing and walk up to him, or he heard you sing? Like, how did that work?
I was sitting on the tailgate of my truck, and I had my guitar in my hand, and was just picking and grinning and talking to everybody, and he just happened to be one of the people that walked up and I was talking to.
Crazy how it works, huh?
And now he's with my sister. Well, so Des is, I'm gonna call her my TikTok sister.
Okay.
Because we didn't, like, no, we're not blood. But
she's the family you chose.
She's the family I chose, and when she introduces me, I'm her brother. When I introduce her, she's my sister. I say it's not a, I was the guy that she called when she had a family death. I came, to come and try to. Well, a lot of us I ended up actually coming, but she had me play at the funeral. I was there to be a good brother.
Right.
That was. I wanted to be there for her, and that was kind of the solidifying. Like, all right, this is you're definitely my brother now. So.
Oh, that's awesome, man. And when did you guys, so you do have a tour coming up with Anthem Unsung and Queen Des, and it's Anthem
of Destiny.
Of Destiny, thank you. Anthem of Destiny, and you're going to be the opening act, right? I'm only familiar with it because Kat is helping out with the nonprofit a lot now, and as a matter of fact, I believe you guys may be here on April 30th in the Houston area to help us out with a fundraiser we got coming up at a lounge. And you guys might bring your guitars and have a little fun for us and sing for us and help us out.
I can say I'm definitely bringing my guitar.
Yeah, no, I'm going to make Bryce bring his guitar. Him and Des actually drove from Mississippi all the way to Houston and then back to Mississippi. In one day. I think it was Mississippi. Was it Mississippi? It was Mississippi.
Yeah, they're in Mississippi.
Yeah, so they drove from Mississippi because they were at a wedding. They drove from Mississippi to Houston to help with the live fundraiser. And then after the live fundraiser, early that morning, the next day, they drove back to Mississippi because they had something else going on. But that's the kind of man Bryce is, and that's the kind of woman Des is. And so I was interested how you linked up with them. And I am thrilled that you're a part of this tour that they got going on. Do you have any idea of when the first date, when the first show, where people can get tickets, anything like that, or is all that still being in the works?
I think all of it's still in the works. I know that we're going to be with you guys on April 30th. That's what I know.
Sweet. I cannot wait.
And that's all I to be honest with you, that's one of the biggest things that I'm looking forward to. So.
Hell yeah, man. I can't wait to meet you in person. I can't wait for us to all hang out, get together, and enjoy each other's company. I can't wait to hear you sing and perform. It's a small venue, but it's still, the whole idea is to help our civil service members, and I really do appreciate that. You also said you had some music out right now. This is your whole plug session if you didn't catch that yet. You have some music out right now, and I do know you're on YouTube for sure. Are you on any other platforms?
I'm on every platform that you can find music. I'm on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon, Pandora, iHeart, anywhere you can find music, you can find me there. Hell, you can even find me on the Homegrown Country Show here in Arkansas, on the radio on Sundays.
Hell yeah! Now, do you MC or do you just they just play local music artists?
Play some of my music.
No, they play local music artists.
Yeah, they play local music artists. It's the Homegrown Country Show. They do the local artists around here that, that right now we can't afford national radio, so we get the local Homegrown Country Show, which is the closest thing that for right now that we're gonna get, but it's big enough that it helps us out locally for sure.
That's I think that's awesome that the city does, or the state does, something like that. That's freaking awesome. Where are you? What are you planning to do with this once this all gets up and going?
Man, once the tour or
the tour, yeah, the tour.
Once the tour gets going, I'm very excited because I'm hoping that I can connect with one person. That's all I want to do. I want to connect with one person. I want to connect with as many people as I can, but if it's only one person, I did my job.
Right.
My life goal is at that point, like help as many people as I can. If I can't help hundreds, if I can't help thousands, if I can't help millions, let it be one.
That's a very, very interesting saying, because I believe a lot of people that are out there trying to make a difference and trying to help people, it really is about at least one. At least one. Let's save or change or help at least one. Because if you help one, it's all worth it. It's all worth it. And even if that one is yourself, remember, it's still worth it.
Exactly.
You can't forget about yourself.
And that is another humongous thing that my book's about. Like, my book's a lot about, it's about helping other people. I've got spots in there where it's talking about inspiring as many people as you can when you get the chance. Like, if you get a chance to motivate or inspire, take that chance, whether it's out of your way or not. I've got pages in there where it's kind of like this show. It dives deep and it fucking pulls heartstrings.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, but as long as, it reaches out and grabs one person, as long as my words can relate to somebody, I've done my job. And this whole book, it's not only helping other people. I'm not just posting it for them. I'm posting it for myself. I'm learning these lessons as I go as well. I'm learning these lessons from my experience. Like, some things I have learned, some things I'm learning.
Mm-hmm.
Help. I quit smoking when I started this. At the very beginning of this, I quit smoking cigarettes. I went 3 weeks with a vape, and then 3 weeks no nicotine at all. And I took control over my nicotine addiction at that point in time. Like, that, my habit. Mm-hmm. I won't even call it a nicotine addiction, because honestly, obviously addiction is real. Mm-hmm. But everything is a mindset. Like, your habits are mindsets. Changing little things with your habits, like changing this bad habit to a good habit, changing this bad habit to a good habit, or at least meeting it in the middle. Hell, like, sometimes you don't even have to completely cut out your bad habits to you just meet it in the middle. You change your habit.
Finding a good compromise.
Yeah. Let's say finding a healthy compromise, finding something that is just a change. As long as you have control, finding control over your habits. How about that? That's a
good one. Yeah.
Find control over your habits, and you will start noticing these little wins in your head. Like, you're like, oh my gosh, okay, well, I beat this a little bit today. I beat this a little bit today. And all those little wins, they start adding up. Your confidence starts building, and you start noticing that maybe I could cut this out. Maybe I could cut this out. I started doing little bitty things even like things that seemed insignificant, like my road rage. I would get mad as hell driving down the road. Somebody cut me off, or somebody did, something that just pissed me off when I'm driving down the road. I would yell, I would holler, I would hit my damn steering wheel, honk the horn. I'd be pissed.
Mm-hmm.
But I changed that. Like I just kind of I took control over my mind at that point and was like, okay, so I want to change this a little bit, if I can. And I changed that. I lessened that to damn near a none. Like it's almost non-existent now. And once I found that little win, it helped me with not smoking while I was driving. So, I'm like, okay, cool, I beat this. Now, maybe I might be able to beat this while I'm doing this. So then, when I decided to quit vaping, that's
as I've been vaping this entire show. Thank you for throwing that out there, brother.
Just a little helper, buddy. I when I quit vaping, I was like, okay, so this is just one thing that I could take control of for smoking. I quit smoking and went to vaping, and then I'm like, okay, well, now I might, need to get rid of this, because, this really isn't that healthy for me either. So I was like, all right, well, time to kick that. So I went nicotine free, and I started going to alcohol. Just changing little habits, it makes things easier for your brain.
Right.
You start you got to confuse your brain a little bit. Like, am I doing what I was supposed to be doing? No, okay. Well, fuck it. We're too late now. We're doing something else now.
Mm-hmm.
And, when you start turning those bad habits into healthy habits, you're still doing a habit. You're still making a habit. Me, I took control over mine. I can't say that I completely quit smoking, because I've had a cigarette or two the last couple of days. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Mm-hmm.
But I went from smoking 2 packs a day to I haven't had a pack this month. And I had 2 packs a day for 8 years. I was smoking at 16,
right.
Like it was nothing. Like I was a choo-choo train.
Choo-choo train.
Did that make you feel old?
Yeah.
That was the goal.
Yeah, just a little bit. It made me feel old just a little bit.
That was the goal there. I'm not gonna lie.
That was the goal.
That was the goal. That one. I told you I was gonna find something to make you feel a little bit older before the end of the show.
Bro, the fact that you said you were 18 in 2017 made me feel old. Come on.
I told you I was gonna find something to make you feel older than that, though.
Oh man. Anyway, so Dylan Gray on Spotify, iHeartRadio, all your music hosting sites, and on YouTube. Go check him out there. Where can they find you on social media?
You can find me at Dylan Gray Music 37 on TikTok. You can find me at Dylan_Gray_music on Instagram, and I'm just Dylan Gray on Facebook.
That's pretty simple enough. I will definitely be going and following you shortly hereafter. The fact that I don't follow you now it's not because I chose not to. I didn't know who you were, man. Remember, this is the first time we've met each other. How often do you meet somebody first time and they decide to have a sit down conversation like this? It's very rare. Usually you got to kind of build up that kind of trust. You got to build up that kind of, repertoire, the getting to know how each other interacts with one another. But for me, it also helps with the people you know too, and the people you associate yourself with. If Bryce is associating himself with you, if Kat's associating himself with you, and Des is associating herself with you, those are 3 people that I trust, like, a lot. So yeah, you're gonna get my trust before you even quote unquote earned it.
Right.
It's, you've earned it by proxy, just by having the trust of the people that I trust and the people that I care about. So, you know, I'm thankful so very much that you came on the show. I'm very thankful that you decided to share some of your story and the outlook on it, and allowing me to pry and ask you a little bit deeper questions into some of the stuff you talked about, because I know not all the time it's the easiest thing to relive. And when we start telling those stories, we are reliving them. Our mindset and our bodies and everything else goes back into those emotions that we had during those times. Obviously, when we have time to work through them, they're not as strong. But
I'll say, you don't feel strong when things come on, but I'll tell you this: you damn sure feel stronger afterwards. Once you see yourself get through it, once you see, like, yeah, I made it through that. The one thing that I told somebody here recently, you know, I always say, you know, you can't live in the past. You know, you can't even go visit your past. It's not like you can take a trip back on, you know, like you can't go camp in it. You know, say, you know, what's up, present? You know, like what's going on? We're hanging out with past today. You know, like I'll see y'all later. You know, present. You know, it's there. You're in the present no matter what. You don't really get to go camping with your past. You know, you can't change it. You can't do anything. Why even look at it? There's another page in my book. There's a reason why they make the rearview mirror so much smaller than the windshield. Mm-hmm. Because what is in front of you, you know, although what's behind you is important, what is in front of you, you know, that's what's
that's the bigger picture. That's the bigger picture.
That's what you need to focus on. That's where everything's really happening.
Right. Yeah, you learn from your past to mold your future. You know, and it just with that car analogy, right? We know what we went through behind us. Mm-hmm. So if we even have to, if we find ourselves on the same road, we learned from that first time we went through it. We know how to navigate it now. We know how to get through it safely now. We know how to get through it, conquering it if we had any issues going through it the first time around. Well, now if we find ourselves on that same road, you know what? This road got a hell of a lot easier.
Yep.
I've been down this track before. Let's do this. It's not going to affect me the way it did the first time. I'm not scared of it this time.
Sometimes a road full of chaos will lead you to beautiful fields of knowledge and enlightenment.
Yes, sir. When is this book going to be published?
So I will have this book published when I get through my 366 days.
So you're literally doing it day by day.
I'm literally doing this day by day. I will finish it through and true on the 366th day. I will send it off to a publisher and an editor to get it out. Let's say that. Of course, I'm sure it's just going to be it's going to be an Amazon type book. You're going to find it on Amazon, and hell, I might even, you know, read it to the phone, and where you got it as an audiobook, I don't know. I haven't decided.
Well, but with that country twang you got, it'd be interesting.
It would be interesting. Be a great audiobook. So, so I'm gonna read you one last page.
Go for it, bro.
Before I go, just because.
Well, before you go, I actually still have about 3 more questions for you.
Oh, good job.
Yeah, go for it though. I'm ready.
I thought we were on the outro here, but hell yeah, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
So, friendly daily reminder, day 4.
Mm-hmm.
Today, I want to remind you: you are not broken. You are not a sum of your heartbreaks. There are no such thing as mistakes, only lessons, only teachable moments. Your past does not need to guide your present, but your future is nothing without your past. If you stop viewing your experiences as trauma, as weakness, and view them as knowledge, you will gain strength. Once you can do that, you're winning your internal battle, and will be stronger for the battles to come. Continue to live, laugh, and love. Triple squeeze.
What's triple squeeze?
All right, so for one, it's the title of the book. 2, it was something that my dad passed down to me. Mm-hmm. He would, you know, it's an action instead of words, per se. So he would, when we were driving down the road, if he was holding his wife's hand, he would squeeze 3 times. That's "I love you." if me and him were driving down the road on the way to work, we've had a fucking tough day, I'm pissed off or something like that, he grabbed my leg, squeeze 3 times. That's, I love you. When I, when I go to hold my girl's hand, when I'm driving down the road, squeeze 3 times. That's, I love you. Is it right now? It's my non-existent girl.
I'm pretty sure, brother, you're 24 years old. You got plenty of time. Work on your dreams first. Find the one that's willing to work with your dreams with you. Trust me. I'm going through a divorce right now. Find somebody that's willing to work on your dreams with you, because your dreams are going to be a battle, not only for yourself, but if you bring somebody else in, they're willing to take on those battles as well. Make sure they're 100% aware that those battles are coming with you, and they're going to be a part of it. And it's okay.
Yes, that's very true. I say when it comes to relationships, it's you've got to build, and that's one thing that I've always, even before I was writing this book, because it is in my book.
Yeah, you keep plugging your book. Keep plugging your book, man. I have a feeling we're going to read all the way up to day 73 by the time we're done.
I'm trying not to, I promise.
No, you're good. I really do appreciate what you're sharing, because these are thoughts and emotions that you've had, and you're not afraid to share them, and that's a good thing. So I'm giving you shit and busting your balls, but in the long run, it actually means something. It's a good thing.
I say, whether you are mad about it or not, we've kind of put enough time into it. We've kind of put enough time into it that you have to put it in the show.
Yeah, no shit.
And someone has to hear it now. So
yeah, someone's gonna hear it. I promise you, someone's gonna hear it. I promise you. We're averaging about 1,200 listens per episode right now. So, and this is worldwide.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, and that's just on one platform, the only platform that I listen to.
Hi, world.
All right, man. Again, thank you for sharing everything you did, but I still have 3 questions. And I'm using you as my test dummy, because I'm going to switch up my questions. I've used the same last 3 questions, for the past year, almost a little over a year, used the same last 3 questions, but I want to try something new. I want to try using some different questions. And one of the first questions I want to ask you, and mind you, this can spark another 5-10 minute conversation, 1-word answer, it doesn't matter. No right or wrong answers. But if you can do everything over again, knowing what you know now, or not even knowing what you know now, just knowing that you can change the path, right? Not knowing what you know now, but say, I'm going to go and live back. I'm going to forget everything I did. I'm just going to know that I have a different choice. I can make a different choice now. Would you go back and do it again?
Man, I would go back to, you want to know the completely honest truth? I would go back and do everything that I did over again, but I would do it the exact same. I say I would do it the exact same because I love where I'm at. I'm not gonna lie to you. I appreciate my struggle. If you'd have asked me at the beginning of this year, I'd say I got my heart fucking ripped out, stomped on at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
If you'd asked me at the beginning of this year whether I would have done that, no, I would. Where I'm at this very, very point in time, where I've been at the last few months, like the last month and a half, 2 months since I started writing this book, since I really started living the words that I was writing, or since I started practicing what I was preaching, I would not change a thing. I would go through and I would experience it all over again just to see it all again. Because there's beauty in the struggle. Yes, I know that my buddy Brian Martin, he's already capitalized on that. That's his song, Beauty in the Struggle. But there's beauty in the struggle. If you grow, like I always say, don't live in your past, but grow to appreciate it.
I like that. I like that. Don't live in your past, but grow to appreciate it. And that includes, I think that should include even past that sometimes we want to forget, the past that we want to not relive. I think you even need to appreciate those parts as well. Because those parts are, like you said, those are the parts where you grow.
Exactly. If I say, I would hurt all over again. If I say, as long as I knew that it would put me right back here. Hell, even if, honestly, if it was to lead me down another road, I know this is where I was meant to be. I know that right here, right now, talking to you, talking to whoever's listening. Hey, everybody, this is where I was supposed to be, and whoever's listening, this is where they're supposed to be. Even if they're just swiping through or whatever the hell they're doing, this is where they're supposed to be. They were supposed to hear this, and like I said, there's no such thing as coincidences, only divine encounters.
I love it. That's a good question. I really don't got much else for that. I can't add to that. That was a good answer. I said question. I meant answer. Good answer. I'm a little tired, man. I just got off a 48-hour shift from work, so I'm a little tired. I
haven't slept since yesterday either, but that's just because I've been singing on TikTok.
Yeah. Well, there's that. My second question: is there anything that you might have wanted to talk about or share, a piece of information that maybe we didn't hit on that you would want the world to know right now?
I'm gonna have to go to my book.
Oh gosh, here we go again. Here we go. I should have known that was coming with that question.
You should have.
I should have known that was coming with that question. I'm just interested to hear what day it is. Uh-oh. Oh god.
See, I just took us back to day 4 earlier, so
yeah. And you're scrolling through looking for a good one.
You damn right I'm
Well, you know what? Here's a good one. What's the one that kind of, since you've been starting this, is sticking out to you more than any other?
All right. I got you.
You gotta find it.
I gotta find it. They're gonna log in to shit.
It's crazy. It's crazy how we have these things, and you would think something that meant so much to us, we'd remember. It's like, well, we remember what it meant to us. We don't remember exactly how we said it, though.
That's so true, and it's one of those things that it'll get you. It will catch you. Like when you least expect it, because you're trying to think of, that if someone wouldn't have asked you about it, you'd been able to spit it out. But when they ask you about it, you're like,
let me get back to you.
Let me scroll.
Trust me, I said it better when I wrote it down. I said it so much better than what I'm saying. It's like trying to explain a funny moment to people, and you're laughing your ass off, and everyone's looking at you like, you know what? You had to be there, okay? If you were there, it would have been hilarious. It's kind of like that.
I can definitely agree with that. I do that all the time. Actually, I'm not gonna lie to you. There's days where I'm like, shit. What could I have done better in this conversation? Like, I know I did it better earlier, when I was practicing in the mirror. But, it's not going all that great now, I'm stumbling for shit.
You're good. All right. So what's the one thing? I'm ready. You found it.
I did find it. Friendly daily reminder, day 47.
47. All right.
Today I want to remind you that each and every person that that we interact with is an opportunity to pass along positivity. If we were all creating positive interactions, productively reacted. See, it's one of those moments. It's an opportunity to pass along positivity, if we were creating positive interactions, productively reacting to negative interactions, and keeping respect, love, and positivity in mind each and every day with each and every interaction, the world would be a much brighter place. Continue to live, laugh, and love. Continue to pass along positivity, and it will keep your environment productive. Triple sweep.
I like it. I
say,
like it.
This is the way I see the world right now. That if you're looking through this book's eyes, or my eyes, or however you want to look at it, your world's not going to be fantastic all the time. Your world's not going to be hell all the time. You have all opportunity to let it be bad. You have all opportunity to let it be good. But as long as you are being productive, you're on an uphill climb. You are on an uphill climb as long as you keep your world productive.
I like it. I think if you can keep it productive with positivity, it's a climb. You're making progress. Yeah. It's almost similar to the, I say this all the time. Be the change you want to see in the world without letting the world dictate how you see that change happen.
Yep.
Just be the best version of yourself for yourself first and give that to the world. And I promise you, your world becomes a better place.
If you can't see it, be the change.
Yeah. If you can't see the change, be the change. And don't treat others the way you want to be treated just so that you get treated the same way in return. If that's the only reason why you're treating others the way you want to be treated, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. You treat others the way you want to be treated because you want the world to be better in your eyes. You don't do it with the expectation that you're going to be treated the same way in return. You're doing it for you. Make sure you're doing it for you.
Don't treat the world
first.
Don't treat the world that you would want to be treated. Treat the world you would want
the world to treat you.
The way you would treat your grandma.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Treat the world the way you would treat your grandma. Unless you don't like your grandma, treat them like somebody you love.
Yeah, that.
All right, man. My last question for you. My last question for you. And now I usually... I'm sorry, you keep cutting out. Say that again.
I said I'm actually dreading this one.
It's not hard.
Well, no, I know, but that means it's still the last question. This means the conversation's over. I'm not excited for it right now.
Well, we could have a conversation again.
I like these people that are listening.
You like that? Well, they're not even listening to it right now. They're not going to listen to this until, what day is it? Today's what, Thursday? It's still that 4 days before they listen to it.
They don't have to know. You guys, y'all don't have to know that.
They already know that. I've said it on plenty of my other podcasts that these are all recorded episodes. Yeah.
All right, people. You know that now.
My last question to you, Dylan, brother. You're on the What Makes Us Fire podcast. Now, I'm not very talented in thinking of logos and everything because I'm a firefighter, and I was just like, what makes us fire? And now, to be completely honest, it was to tell the stories of civil service members, firefighters in particular, and kind of quote-unquote humanize the uniform, humanize the badge. I hate that saying because when were we not humans? But that was the main purpose. But it evolved from that. It evolved from telling people what it is that made us civil service members to more of a question. More of a question to my guests. What is it within you that gives you the fire to keep going? What is it that makes you fire, that makes you go, that makes you continue wanting to be the person better, not only for yourself, but for the people you come in contact with?
So, I know that one of these days I want a family. And I want my kids, and hell, I want your kids, I want my friends' kids, I want them, hell, I've got fucking 10 godchildren, okay? I want them to have a good space. I want them to have a good life. I'm not saying that I don't want them to have the same struggles that I have. I mean, I don't want them to have the exact same struggles that I have, but, I want them to learn some of the same lessons. I'm not going to lie to you. Maybe not the hard way, but I want them to learn those lessons. But if I can make it a little bit easier on them, that's what I'm going to do. Let's say I want to help as many people as I can, and I sure as shit want to help this future generation because, I mean, if you look around, you know, we're struggling at the moment, you guys. We're struggling.
So your fire, your passion is to make a difference for our future.
It's not just to make a difference, but to change the world. Let's say it. Everyone says that not one man can change the world. You know, they say that, you know, Rome was built one day and it didn't take one person. It took a bunch, but it took one person to have the idea. It took one person to have the idea. It took, you know, this person saying, okay, well, hey, you, and you, and you, and you, let's do this. Let's try this out and see what it does. And so if I can tell some, you know, pass out a daily reminder every day, which I do on Facebook, Instagram, my social media, you know, I posted, I'm not just selling my book. I'm letting you know this now. Like, before people say that, you know, I'm just on here trying to sell a book or anything like that. If that's, you know, something that people think, you know, with me bringing up my book so much, I'm not trying to sell my book. I post my book page for page on social media every single day to give everyone a chance to see it. I posted every single day. And hell, before I started writing it, I posted about it and said, hey, you guys, if this is something that you've got, you know, that you want to look into, if you want to make some changes, I'm fixing to write a book. You know, it doesn't take the wisest man to spread wisdom. You know, I wanted to inspire, I wanted to motivate, and I wanted to spread some wisdom that I gained, or, you know, some lessons that I think that I need to learn, they need to learn, and, you know, just the changes that I want to see. And I didn't see the change, so I was being the change.
I like that. I didn't see the change, so I started being the change.
And like I said earlier, if not a million, let it be one.
Well done, brother. Thank you again for your point of view. Thank you for your answers. Thank you for letting me pry. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for becoming a new friend, man. Seriously, I really do appreciate people that can bite the bullet, come on, meet a complete stranger, and share their story unapologetically. And it's rare that you find that in some people. Some people hold back, and some people have a hard time finding the words. But the fact that they even try means a lot, especially to somebody brand new. You didn't know who I was. You heard who I was through Kat, you know, through our mutual friend, and you still said yes. And I can't thank you enough for that. I'm gonna do a little outro, and don't end the call or anything, because I'm gonna talk to you a little bit afterwards. But I do want. Huh?
I said cool, because I still got songs to play you.
Oh, no. That was something that I was going to talk to you about here in a second. This part I'm going to be editing. But What Makes Us Fire, family, this was Dylan Gray. You can find him on social media, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. You can find him on all audio hosting platforms, including iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all the above, and on YouTube. Go check him out. Give him a follow. Check out his music. Check out his book when it comes out in about 260 something days. and make sure you show him some love. You guys get out there, have fun, stay safe, show some love and peace out in the world. You never know who's going to need it. You never know if you'll be the one to make the difference, and being that difference, it feels pretty damn good. Be the change you want to see in the world without allowing the world to dictate how you see that change happen. Be the best version of yourself, for yourself first. Give that out into the world, and I promise you, you will see that better world. Much love, stay safe, and peace. Dylan, wait, say that again?
Triple squeeze.
Triple squeeze. Right, What Makes Us Fire, family. That was my friend Dylan Gray. If you've noticed, or as you noticed, I should say, I just met the guy. And he was willing to share his story with what is a complete stranger to him. And that says something about his character. That says something about his mission. That says something about his story. The fact that he's willing to share and go through this process of sharing his story with a complete stranger on a platform that gets broadcast worldwide and have no fear in doing it, says a lot about what his mission truly is. And I got to thank him for that. You know, a lot of the times our past sometimes beats us down to that rock bottom, and we feel like not only are we rock bottom, but the dirt is falling in on us. He's found a way to turn that dirt into steps, found a way to turn that dirt into hills for him to climb. And even at the young age he is, he found it. He found it. I'm a little bit envious of him. I'm a little bit envious, if I have to be honest. It took me almost 35 years to get to the point where he's at now. But I'm very proud. I'm proud of him for doing it. I'm proud of myself for doing it too. There's no time limit on this thing. Dylan, brother, thank you again for sharing your story. If you guys find yourself on the ledge right now, needing some help, the National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 100% free, anonymous, and confidential. Give them a call. Get off that ledge. The number is 1-800-273-8255. Again, the number is 1-800-273-8255. Making that call isn't right for you, or you just don't feel like you're there yet, it's okay. I have another resource for you. National Suicide Prevention Lifeline.org. There you'll find a multitude of resources for you to read, look over, and learn from to start your conversation, to start your journey into your mental health, clarity for you being better. It's that time of the show where I say thank you all for listening. Thank you all for following. Thank you guys for sharing. We have a bunch of things coming up. April 30th in Houston, Texas, we are having the What Makes Us Fire Lounge event. I'm only calling it that because I haven't thought of a more thrifty name. Thrifty? Nifty name is what I meant to say. I haven't thought of a more nifty name for it. Nifty, that doesn't sound right. Who cares? April 30th, Houston, Texas, at El Big Bad. Be on the lookout. Ticket sales will be going up shortly as well. Please come join us. Come out. Have a good time. Help us raise funds for the What Makes Us Fire nonprofit foundation. Much love to you all. Remember, like Dylan said, you need to mold yourself from your past. You can't live. It's actually impossible to live in the past. But it's definitely something we can use to grow from, to learn from, to mold ourselves from. Tragedies and struggles that we go through in our lives do not have to define us. They do not have to be just the tragedy and the struggle. They can be the thing that helps mold us to lift us up. As hard of a perception as that might sound, it's true. When you make it through it, you become stronger. You become better. And that's the point. Much love to y'all. Stay safe. And without further ado, Mr. Dylan Gray with his song, Soldier.
I've been trying to catch a breath, but the water's over my head. I've been staring at the sky from down below. This world's getting colder, and its weight's on my shoulder. I wasn't raised to be a folder, don't you know? 'Cause 'cause I'm a soldier. Front line, never back down. I'm a soldier. Standing with my feet on the ground. I'm a soldier. I'm a soldier. I'm a soldier. I take my time looking straight ahead. No, I won't quit, that's what I said. And when I fall, I'll get back up. But time's getting rougher. I'm forced to get tougher. Yeah, I'll push back when push comes to shove. 'Cause I'm a soldier. Front line, never back down. I'm a soldier. Standing with my feet on the ground. I'm a soldier. I'm a soldier. I'm a soldier. Till the day I die, till I quit breathing, I will fight you, best believe it. I am getting bolder, 'cause I'm a soldier. 'Cause I'm a soldier. I'm a soldier. Front line, never back down. I'm a soldier. Standing with my feet on the ground. I'm a soldier. I'm a soldier. I'm a soldier. I'm a soldier. I'm a soldier.